Good morning. Good morning, I said, at 8:30 p.m. in the evening. Sean Duncan, thank you for the $4.99. Got your Oshi on one screen, Crowder on the other. Dual-wielding debates? Hell yeah. Oh, dude, he's probably gonna have, like, crazy CCV today. His last debate was, like, several 100,000. It was nuts. It was nuts. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, I did a whole bunch of work earlier today, and then I was like, damn, I've only slept 3 hours. I should probably sleep some more. His debate was so powerful, it ended an incumbent. True. Monia! No, you, Bailey. Thank you for the $25 doodles, my guy. You are super mega duper cute and lovely. You can appreciate a good symbolism, but scheduling the presidential debate today is a little too on the nose. Well, I mean, today's only the 10th. Tomorrow's the 11th, so, I mean, you know. DSC, thank you for the member. A Monkey99, thank you for the 8-month member. Hide the Kirsches, the Haitians are out hunting. What has been flabbergasting to me? The alert and TTS are muted. Thank you. I had my desktop muted because I was checking out the the debate feed, making sure it worked. Did I get ingredients for 9/11 cake? No, I'm literally dying. I'm literally dying on 9/11. Before stream, I was fighting for my life, and I came and I sat down, and I vomited all over myself promptly. But it wasn't like vomit, it was a whole bunch of like the glue phlegm mixed with vomit. So yeah, that was fun. Debate Gamba, that's still vomit. I mean, yeah. You're eating cereal so it can be considered morning. I'm so sorry. Swanee, thank you for the 9-month member. Congrats on this, the day of your birth. I will be turning off alerts for the actual debate. So if you wanted to make noises now. We'll forever hold your autisms. Yeah, my cat. I don't know which cat it is, but one cat's going nuts.
You don't even know that well?
What are the drinking rules? Don't get alcohol poisoning.
Is it bad to be attracted to a cartoon fox and you don't even know that well?
Kai, thank you for the 5. What do you have a feeling this debate will be a mental buck-breaking session on Kamala? She's not great, but surely she can speak sentences better than Biden could, right? Surely.
It's butt time?
Psychopath.
Silly woman. Fuck along.
You sure the Haitians would love a couple of cats named Gravy and Cheems Ball? True. The thing that's been most flabbergasting about the fucking Haitian cat eaters? Put her legs like Moses at the Red Sea and give her the... Well, hopefully the Haitians aren't doing that.
Morning, sleepy fox woman. Recently received my first paycheck for a real job.
Oh shit.
Feels good to be a productive member of society,
oh,
but I
shit.
need to make up for not being a good pay pig.
Silly.
I've already cleared the headspace once today, so consider this my second tribute.
What the fuck? Cake on frosting, thank you for the 50? You don't need to make up for... You're not a pay pig! Ashen Bauer, thank you for the 10! Thank you! Table ketchup's fine, you prefer ketchup like you 90s comic book women, ice cold and stuffed in the fridge? I mean, if it was in a glass bottle, maybe.
Like you. She's black.
True. Rabbit, thank you for your 5 gift members, thank you! Moose Nugget, congrats on this, the day of your birth. Thank you for the 9-month member, my guy, thank you. Thank you. Most magnificently magnanimous, mystically majestic, mystically melodic, magically memorable, marvelously manicured. There's so much noise going on, Foxu.
Debaters duel, discourse dense, deft fox dissects each defense. Vigilant viewer, votes in mind, Vixen's verdict soon we'll find.
Oh my god. It's butt time? Oh my spider god, thank you for more alliteration.
I'm making 2 batches of hand-popped popcorn for the debate and treating it like a movie. Glad to be watching Foxu this election cycle.
I'm upset. I want popcorn.
Was mad at the fortifications as they robbed Orange Man live of his rightful title.
I want fucking... Oh wait, no, Toasta, I got them mixed up. Chat is scrolling so fast, I'm so sorry. Toast Engineer, thank you for the alliteration. Thank you, Toast Engineer, for the alliteration and the 25. And Spider God, thank you for another 25 right after. I am jealous of your hand-popped popcorn, you bitch. Thank you. I hope you make enough to share with the class. Ikran Hate, thank you for the 10. Sleeping is overrated. It's how I stay young. I need at least 12 hours of sleep a day. You know? About to start the 11th resub date for a based streamer. Mega-based, mayhaps. As a dual citizen of Mexico and Murica, we don't like people traveling through our country and fucking shit up to get to fuck up our other country. True and real.
Baby, can I have the cum cream?
JP, thank you for the 7-month member. Last week was rough. Chat, hug your dads, tell them you love them. Might not get your chance. Oh no, dude. I am sorry to hear about your loss, dude. That really fucking sucks. I can't think about that happening to mine or I'll start crying. Can't do that. Can't do that.
It's butt time.
Judge Jingles, thank you for the 7-month resub. Thank you. D7 Origin, thank you for the 10. You're giving your son a bath and you'll be able to watch along. He was able to count to 20 today and sing the whole ABCs. Babies are fun. It's worth it. Have children. You must be fucking proud as shit right now, dude. Sparky, I've lost your chat now. Oh my god, Sparky, thank you for the 5. Ark, forgive me, but I don't want to watch this clown show.
Big boy,
Or you want to watch the clown show with the Foxy Lady. Don't thread on the Kirsche. Please do not thread me. Do not sew me shut. Jacob, thank you for the 5 gift members, my guy. There's so much happening!
Slaves built the Parthenon. Slaves built America. Slaves, this is your song. Thank you. Slaves.
Do 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 do.
Thank you. Slaves.
Do 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 do.
Thank you. Slaves.
Do 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 do.
Slaves, this is your song.
Thank you, Red Hunter.
Thank you, Red Hunter, for the fucking slaves.
Both honorable and dishonorable chatters united to watch Best Fox News.
True.
Baby,
True and
can I
real.
have the cum cream?
Jacob, thank you for the 5 gift members. Gizoid55, thank you for the 2. Appreciate the Blast Blue reference in the title. I used to play that game, believe it or not.
Dirty dog you are!
Smith of 11 Herbs and Spices, thank you for the 10. A Paper Foxy. True.
Cheeseburger.
The Space Wizard, thank you for 5. Gonna listen while in the shower after your workout. Always remember, Chad, if you're losing a lot of hair, try using less shampoo. True. Use less shampoo and wash your hair less frequently with the shampoo. The amount of houses I've looked at that I've considered buying that have like specifically mounted TVs in the bathroom is kind of crazy. I never thought of doing that. Wolfbane, thank you for the 5. Listen, this might be the alcohol talking, but you have a bad feeling about this debate. You feel like something bad is gonna happen. I don't have that feeling. It could be right though, but I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like anything bad's gonna happen in particular. Issei, thank you for the member. A Periplaneta Missionary, thank you for the 2.
Toxic
The cats are unburdened by what has been. Thank you, Kamala. JC McHanson, thank you for the $4.99.
Spicy cat raid. What the hell is this spicy cat raid?
Miss Scarlet Winter, thank you for the raid. Welcome, Raiders. We're pre-debate gaming right now. I already gave the pre-debate warning that the alerts will be turned off when the debate starts. No more sounds, no more alerts when the debate is on. So people are getting out their tism fits now. Are you ready for a debate?
Like Moses at the Red Sea and give her the.
I'm about as ready for the debate as I can be,
I'm
baby.
spoiled by the chat kisses from the stream with Fillion and Alana. I think I might be addicted. Is there a Foxy Kisses rehab? Do I want to be cured?
I don't know. Do you want to be cured?
Squibby.
Hermit Hal, thank you for the $50 doodles. Thank you. Are you guys for a totally weird yet joyful debate? Surely it cannot be worse than the Joe Biden debate.
His name is John.
I feel like half of the Joe Biden debate was just me being like, what the fuck did he just say? What the fuck?
More milkies. More milkies.
And you'll be quiet for the whole stream. Don't worry, that's fine. Feel free to glowy dance if you need to. JC McHanson face, thank you for the $4.99. Hey Kirsche, finally got a chance to catch you live. Your cat Moose says meow. Well, meow to you too, Moosums. My cats are probably settling down for sleep somewhere. Scott Roush, thank you for the 2-month member. Time to lose some IQ. Might need to get some liquor to help you not go mad listening to the debate. True and real. I can't stop hearing about Matt Walsh's new movie as well. Apparently it's like an hour and 40 minutes long. When the fuck does that thing come out? Cause like, we need to watch that together. Jeez, Sally! Your boyfriend lets you have 2 comms? I can't believe he not only got Robin DiAngelo, the author of White Fragility, to pay his black producer cash money in reparations, but also that she only had $30 on her. And she even tried arguing at first how that wasn't how reparations are supposed to work. It was a very funny clip. It was a very funny clip. The Highwayman, thank you for 5. You saw the trailer for the Dog Woman movie is out? Oh yeah, so people were pinging me in the Night Bitch trailer. Night Bitch is real. Agreed to watch the debate with a friend IRL. See you guys later. You have to go touch grass. Good luck. I hope you guys have a good time. Rexton Ors, thank you for the 4-month member. You heard her chat. No more sounding until after the debate is over. You take those rods out of your penis. Micro Nightmare, thank you for the 50,000 male currency? That looks like the male sex symbol. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. The US and your citizenship are no longer your problem. So have a great stream, Kirsche. You're just here to say Trump will stand unrivaled. Thank you. Thank you, my guy. Saw a headline about 2 hours ago. It said Trump called out of touch at debate for his position on school pew-pews. Debates had not even started yet. Wow, they're already beginning the lies then, eh? You're a male sex symbol. Ham, thank you for the $4.99. Here's how Bernie can still win. Excuse me, I think you mean the Guac Man is going to take all? It's gonna be a Guac Man sweep? God, the fucking Jeb Bush memes are probably my favorite from 2016. Oh, they're so fucking good, dude. That poor fucking guy, I felt so bad. Like, I didn't feel bad enough to, like, want to vote for him or anything, right? Because that's a little too much pity. But I felt so bad because it just seemed like nobody wanted to even speak with him. Between like, giving out the little glass turtles and him being really excited about it, and even the kids being like, he gave me a turtle from his pocket. And, like, even the kids were confused, and then the please clap. And then his mom being like, I think this country's seen enough Bushes in the White House. Even his mom was like, don't vote for my son. Like, I just felt so bad, man. It's been 8 years since Jeb. That's insane. It does not feel like it's been that long, man. It does not feel like it's been that long. You would have bought a Jeb guac bowl if he didn't charge 75. Yeah, if they were like 25, 30 bucks, I might have bought one. I might have bought one just to have it, you know? The Little Knight, thank you for the 10. Hey, Kirsche, thanks for all the insight you've shared. Been following you a few months now. Usually a weird one, but then again, the honest ones usually are. Yeah. Imagine that, a multifaceted personality. I don't just do the same thing every day. Almost vomited again. That was weird. Time really do move at a rate of 1 second per second. Thanks, I hate it. Thanks, I hate it. You're preparing popcorn? I don't have popcorn. I wish I did. Bellacrex, thank you for the 5. Prep and perfect political posturing, proliferating, pontificating, perpetual post, plying, prudent philanthropy, pay pig. Well, oink oink then. Thank you, Bellacrex. Dinoside 13, thank you for the 10. Weights lifted, steak grilled, tea brewed, pipe packed with your favorite tobacco blend. And the Gadsden Fox is back, living the dream. Let's watch Darwinism run its course live.
Smash that like button, leave a comment, push me in the algorithm.
Shrillgar, thank you for the 2. You're at Culver's, you want anything? Chicken tandy. I don't know what Culver's is, but I want chicken tandy really bad. Deranged Hermit, thank you for the member. Scott Roush, thank you for the 2-month member. Time to lose some IQ. Might need to get some liquor to help you not go mad listening to the debate. True and real. I've seen a lot of people say that already. I've seen a lot of people say that. It's a fast food place, built out of the corn. Oh, that's why I've never heard of it. Give me a fucking concrete mixer. Look, we're not giving people concrete shoes tonight. Okay, alright? Star Phoenix, thank you for the 5.
Up by trying to inflate my penis like a dick balloon. I want to read that one.
Oh, I love dick balloons. Jeb Bush got his legs broken so badly in the primaries that he might never politic again. For that, the Bushes will never forgive Trump. I don't know, I feel like his parents are probably like, thank God. Thank God that strange orange man decided to beat down our son so much that he'll never go into politics again. I should have called in sick. You're at work, so you can't drink. Oh, no. Oh, no. His parents are both dead, you think? Oh, wait, did she die in the last 8 years? I guess it's been 8 years. I think I remember their father dying, but I don't remember her dying. Dig the Squidbillies hat? Thank you. I like Squidbillies. Can Kirsche care consistently? Because Kamala can't keep currying favor. I give up. Concrete Mixer is a frozen custard milkshake. Oh my god. The thicker the milkshake, the more fun of a game it is to try and suck it through a straw, honestly. Albion Matcha, thank you for the 100 biddies. Kamala means awful in your mother tongue of Finnish. That's kind of funny. Haitian cat people! I kind of feel bad. I don't know what's worse, living in Ohio and getting your pets and park animals eaten by the Haitians? Or living in Colorado or New York City, or I think they were in a third state now? The Venezuelan gangs taking over not only apartment complexes, but now also hotels? Going kind of crazy. Ryan, thank you for the 2. Remember the meme of Jeb hitting a kid? No, actually, I don't. Texas, alright. I knew there was a third state added to that, but I couldn't remember which one. Motherfucking John Smith. This fucking bitch getting to marry Pocahontas. How could he do this to the rest of us? Thank you for the $49.99. Thank you. Thank you. Big Chad energy. Just throwing his meat on the table, leaving. Wolfbane, thank you for the 2. Get ready for Kamala communist propaganda. I'm waiting for the weird shit she's gonna say. Who the fuck? Is this Chris Christie? Why does he look like a Mr. Potato Head? I feel like, was he always like that? I don't remember what politicians look like. Yes? Okay. Alright. I believe you, chat. I believe you. Hello, Cheemsball. I see you're initiating the toe licking early tonight. He's always fat? Oh my god. Either going to risk it, she'll have gotten the questions last week, and a team of writers will have scripted every response. Didn't she want, like, fucking flashcards or some shit during the debate? And she was also like, yeah, I want open mic. Can't wait for what can be unburdened by what has been. She's gonna lapse into, like, Wiccan language halfway through the debate. Happy you can watch the epic train wreck happen in real time. You watch my YouTube videos for a while. Glad you can make the stream today. I always feel weird when I watch, like, live content like this. Actually, let me fix my browser because I have it cut to not show my tabs. Hold on a second. Edit transform. Binary mind, because I know you're best at remembering things. Can you remember top 95, pretty please? Thank you. Thank you. Don't listen to the bew. That's my gun. I shot my gun into the floor like a responsible Twitch streamer. There we go. There we go. Now we got the fullest of full screens.
Welcome to Toxic Sluts.
That's actually Gwavy in the background screaming, since James Ball is licking my toes at the moment. Think they'll argue about golf again? I don't know. Kamala doesn't seem like a golf player. What would he bring up? Because she doesn't play golf. She doesn't knit. I don't know. I don't know, man. That's an appropriate sound alert. It should have been me, not him. The Supreme One. Thank you for the 5. Strange how the news only points out Venezuelan gangs in states where the police still shoot on sight. I mean, I wish they did, right? Because then the citizens would actually be being protected from the Venezuelan gangs. But, instead, the gangs are just kind of running wild. They're just kind of doing whatever they want. Air troops, thank you for the 2. Hondurans shot and ate a bald eagle recently, too. I saw that on Twitter, but I didn't have time to vet it, so I'm not sure how true that is. If true, what the fuck? No one in particular, they give the €2. She'll go, I'm speaking when Trump interrupts her. I hope he doesn't interrupt her for like the first 15-20 minutes, and then as soon as she interrupts him, he goes, excuse me, I'm speaking. Like, he just steals her bit so that she doesn't know what to do. Sideways, thank you for the 2. Got your Modelo's, got your vape, you are ready! It's about to begin, dude. Grelgar, thank you for the 6-month member. You recommend vitamins and doing like Bill and partaking and inhaling.
Nice God.
I have done no such thing on this day. I'm completely sober for this debate, so you don't have to be. Reap Tour, thank you for the raid. Welcome, Raiders.
Spicy cat raid.
Azora, thank you for the 200 biddies. Kirsche getting political in 2024. The horror. Dumb jokes aside, how's it going? Hope you've been doing well. Oh, I've been political for years, my guy. Are you someone from like 2018 coming out of the woodwork? First Kirsche stream you're watching. Hello chat, how are you guys? You watch the debate with your parents, but your mother would most likely yell at the TV when Trump talks. Yeah, my dad's girlfriend is similar. She doesn't like the Democrat nominees, but she is a staunch hater of Trump. And my dad's like, yeah, I don't bother talking about politics at home because I can't even mention Trump without her going on a tangent. Love your shirt, thank you. TDS be a hell of a drug. It really is, truly. And can he get more based? Emperor Creatine, thank you for the vibe.
If you buy a fox,
Buy me!
and you put the fox in your house, it's gonna do fox things.
Emperor Creatine, thank you for the vibe. Getting a new bed on Saturday. You can finally say goodbye to the broken box spring you've been sleeping on for a year. Here's a 5 to celebrate. Congratulations! Congratulations! I was just coming to the realization earlier today that when I do end up eventually going into debt for 30 years for a house, I will be house poor, which means I will move into the house and then have no money to furnish it. So I'll be cuddling up in a sleeping bag or maybe putting like a bed on throne or some shit. Your mom's like that? Still buys into the establishment, retards? Unlucky, dude. Unlucky. Oh god, I can't find that dono that triggered the buy me one. I can't find it. Here we go. John Kaji, thank you for the 10. Did I have a favorite BlazBlue character? Yours was Kokanoe? I don't remember names. I'm really bad at names. I played the goth parasol chick because I liked her a lot. Sparky, thank you for the 5R. Also, you want to say this is the first American debate you watch? You used a Brazilian clownery. Excited to see what entertainment you guys have to offer. Oh boy, it's about to get very
we
weird.
have the entire news division
Alerts are going off. Chat. No more sound alerts for tonight.
On our live blog. It's all going to be
No more
happening
sound alerts.
right here. The debate now, just 10 seconds away, and we will be back with our post-game show as soon as it's over. We are going to.
Am I the only one who thinks the National Constitution Center looks way too like modern blocky? Why doesn't it look as
Tonight,
cool
the
as our old
high-stakes showdown
buildings?
here in Philadelphia between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump.
I feel like
Their
it's
first
way louder
face-to-face
to me. Let me
meeting
turn
in
it
this
down a little.
presidential
I
election.
feel like it's way
Their
louder.
first face-to-face meeting ever.
A historic race for president upended just weeks ago. President Biden withdrawing after his last debate.
Oh my god, this
Donald
woman's wearing
Trump now
shoulder
up against
pads.
a
I haven't been able
opponent.
to see
The
noticeable
candidates
shoulder
separated by
pads in
the
a woman's
smallest of
pantsuit in
margins,
ages.
essentially tied in the polls nationally, and in the key battlegrounds, including right here in Pennsylvania,
you're right
all
and
still
true.
very much in play. The ABC News presidential debate starts right now.
This is an ABC News special. The most consequential moment of this campaign. Kamala Harris.
Together, we will chart a new way forward.
Donald
That's true.
Trump.
She is trying to do that.
Be a great nation again.
Face to face. Historic.
Which way,
The
Western man?
ABC News presidential debate. Here now, David Muir and Lindsay Davis.
Good evening, I'm David
Oh
Muir,
no,
and thank you for
Shoulder
joining
Pads
us
is
for
with us for the
tonight's
whole
ABC News
fucking night!
presidential debate. We want to welcome viewers watching on ABC and around the world tonight. Vice President Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump are just moments away from taking the stage in this unprecedented race for president.
And I'm Lindsay Davis. Tonight's meeting could be the most consequential event of their campaigns, with Election Day now less than 2 months away. For Vice
Does she also
President
have a lazy
Kamala
eye,
Harris,
or am I
this is
crazy?
her first debate since President Biden withdrew from the race on July 21st. Of course, that decision followed his debate against President Donald Trump in June. Since then, this race has taken on an entirely new dynamic.
And that brings us to the rules of tonight's debate. 90 minutes with 2 commercial breaks. No topics or questions have been shared with the campaigns. The candidates will have 2 minutes to answer questions, and this is the clock. That's what they'll be seeing. 2 minutes for rebuttals and 1 minute for follow-ups, clarifications, or responses. Their microphones will only be turned on when it's their turn to speak. No pre-written notes allowed. There is no audience here tonight in this hall at the National Constitution Center. This is an intimate setting for two candidates who have never met.
President Trump won the coin toss. He chose to deliver the final closing statement.
What a weird thing to
Vice
say.
President Harris selected the podium to the right.
Our two
So let's now
presidential
welcome the
candidates who have
to the
never
stage.
met each
Vice
other.
President Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump.
Oh God, that's so awkward. Oh God, that's so awkward.
Thank you.
Welcome
He wanted to
both.
like
It's
dip
wonderful
the
to have you. It's an
handshake
honor to have you
even.
both here tonight.
Good evening. We are looking forward to a spirited and thoughtful debate.
So let's get started. I want to begin tonight with the issue that voters repeatedly say is their #1 issue, and that is the economy and the cost of living in this country. Vice President Harris, you
Why
and
is
President
this
Trump
man's
were
mouth
elected 4
permanently
years ago,
cocked
and your opponent on the
diagonally?
stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing.
An opportunity
We know that
economy?
we have a shortage of homes and housing. And the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that
That's
those
gonna
young
benefit
families can
more
afford
people
to buy
who
a
are
crib,
probably
buy a car seat, buy
here
clothes for their
illegally.
children. My passion, one of them, is small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses. My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to start up small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which
Make
is to
the
provide a
economy
tax
better?
cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month.
Where the fuck is she pulling
Economists
this
have
out of
said
her ass
that
from?
Trump sales
What?
tax would actually result for middle-class families in about $4,000 more a year because of his policies and his ideas about what should be the backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
President Trump, I'll give you 2 minutes.
First of all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because there was so much money they can't. It would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics, and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon. And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violently.
She can't even accept basic
These are the
facts. Of
people
course not. She's a
that
woman. What do you
she
mean?
and Biden led into our country, and they're destroying our country. They're dangerous. They're at the highest level of criminality, and we have to get them
Like
out.
how she's
We have to get them
smugly
out
smiling,
fast.
like
I
she
created
feels
one
he's
of the
losing right
greatest
now.
economies in the history of our country. I'll do it again and even better.
We are going to get to immigration and border security during this debate, but
It has an effect on the economy, so he was right to bring it up.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health
to the U.S. the way
epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
January 6th, man, didn't take a shot.
What we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess. What we have done and what I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to
just remember, some people are dumb enough to actually believe that.
From the same old tired playbook, a bunch of lies, grievances, and name calling. What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected
He's already
again.
said multiple times that's not his plan. He has nothing to do with
that
it.
The American people want a president who understands the importance of bringing us together, knowing we have so much more in common than what separates us. And I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans.
President Trump will give you a minute here to respond.
Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas. I guess some good, some bad, but it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before. We had the greatest economy. We got hit with a pandemic. And the pandemic was not since 1917, where 100 million people died, has there been anything like it. We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them over a country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military.
She's coherent, but all she can do is lie.
But not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounced back, and it bounced back and it went to their benefit. But I was the one that created them. They know it, and so does everybody else.
Did she drink the Kool-Aid? Absolutely not. She is a person who's not a true believer. She is a malicious liar. She's not a Kool-Aid drinker.
Look at his economic
She's
plan,
the
it's all
purveyor,
about tax
the
breaks
producer
for the
of the
richest
Kool-Aid.
people. I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy, and the best economists in our country,
Can you explain what an opportunity economy is? Do you want to explain what that is instead of just saying it?
America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase
Considering what can
inflation
get your Nobel prizes taken away, I don't know if I believe prize winners anymore.
You just have to look at where we are and where we stand on the issues. And I'd invite you to know that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself.
Wait a minute, you said his plan was Project 2025. Now he has no plan. Can you make up which lie you want to go with, woman?
I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors, think my plan is a brilliant plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work and create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country. And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, oh, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan.
Which is true and real. If she had a plan, she'd be doing stuff right now. She's a vice president, but her party is still in power.
Your tariffs, you responded, and let's drill down on this, because your plan is what she calls is essentially a national sales tax. Your proposal calls for tariffs, as you pointed out here, on foreign imports across the board. You recently said that you might double your plan, imposing tariffs up to 20% on goods coming into this country. As you know, many economists say that with tariffs at that level, costs are then passed on to the consumer. Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher prices on gas, food, clothing, medication.
He implemented tariffs
arguing
in
it
his
costs the
last
typical
4-year
family nearly
presidency, and we did not
$4,000 a
see
year.
prices raised.
Do you believe Americans can afford higher prices because of tariffs?
They're not going to have higher prices. What's going to have and who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. I was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And, you know, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration. We are going to take in billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. They had the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country, because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else. The people
man, do you remember
of our
when
country
eggs
are
were like super
absolutely
hard to get
dying with
and
what
crazy
they've done.
expensive?
They've destroyed the economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll. The polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was great, that their economy was terrible.
Vice President Harris, I do want to.
Yeah, they're still
ask for your
expensive, but
response.
they
You heard what the
came down a
president said there,
little
because
bit from when they
the
were
Biden
peaked.
administration did keep a number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of America. He invited trade wars. You want to talk about his deal with China? What he ended up doing is, under Donald Trump's presidency, he ended up selling American chips to China to help them improve and modernize their military, basically sold us out, when a policy about China should be in making sure
I don't remember
the
that
United States
happening.
of America
Was I asleep?
wins
Did I
the
miss that?
competition for the 21st century, which means
Did I miss
focusing
him
on the details
bolstering
of
China's
what that
military?
requires, focusing on relationships with our allies, focusing on investing in American-based technology so that we
Also, does
win
she
the
really
race
want to talk
on
about
AI,
Trump bolstering
on quantum
China's
computing,
military when we're currently
focusing on
funding
what
both
we need to
Israel
do
and
to
Ukraine?
support America's
I just-
workforce.
maybe that's not
so
the
that
best
we don't
course of
end up
action
having
here.
on the short end of the stick in terms of workers' rights. But what Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet. Thank you, President Xi, exclamation point, when we know that Xi was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
President Trump, I'll let you respond.
First of all, they bought their chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy.
True.
Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist.
Holy shit,
Her father's
true.
a Marxist professor in
Finally, someone
economics,
calling it out
and
on the
he
big
taught her
stage,
well.
man.
But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy.
Very true.
They have, and she has, destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you'd say they have to hate our country.
President Trump, thank you. Lindsay?
I want to turn to the issue of abortion. President Trump, you often touted that you were able to kill Roe v. Wade. Last year, you said that you were proud to be the most pro-life president in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. In your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban, because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But then the very next day, you reversed course and said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
Well, the reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job. but the governor before, he said the baby will be born.
I'm pretty sure it was
and we will
regular
decide
Virginia,
what
not
to
West
do with the baby.
Virginia.
In
I
other
think
words, we'll
he's got those
execute
mixed
the
up.
baby. And
I'm
that's
like
why I did that,
90% sure it was
because that
regular Virginia.
predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay.
And this was
that's
something they
not okay
wanted
with
to
me.
implement in
Hence the
Virginia,
vote.
but I
what
don't
did
think
is
they
something
actually ended up
for
being able to.
52 years they've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions. Very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart.
You know, I agree. The fact
years.
that they even have the desire to do that is worrisome.
Every Democrat,
but you know they're going to pick
every
apart that he messed up which
liberal,
Virginia.
Conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened. Now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said,
Wait. How come she's allowed to say that in response? Hold on, wait a minute. I thought they weren't supposed to be giving rebuttals to the presidents.
Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime, a violation
as
to
much
their
as I wouldn't
body
agree with that,
does
this
not
is the
have the right
states
to make a
voting on it,
decision
and if
about
they
what
vote
happens
for it,
to their body
what
next. That
would
is
you want the
immoral.
president to do?
And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government
Yeah, he
and
said the
Donald Trump
opposite.
certainly should not
So,
be telling
how are you gonna
women
hold it
what
against
to
him if
do
states vote
with
for it?
her body. I have talked with women around our country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because
He
the
literally
healthcare
said the
providers are
opposite,
afraid
though,
they might go
woman.
to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot. She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that. A 12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term.
He literally
They
said
don't
he doesn't
that.
want that. What do you mean?
And I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law.
You know, all
But
that brain rot
understand,
content that like
if Donald
shifts
Trump
every
were to
10
be
seconds,
reelected,
it
he
probably
will
has
sign
an
a
effect
national
on people.
abortion
They're not going to
ban.
remember what he
Understand,
said,
in
only
his
what she
Project
said here.
2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages. I think the American people believe that certain freedoms, in particular the freedom to make decisions about one's own body, should not be made by the government.
Thank you, Vice President Harris.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing
All
a ban,
lies.
and there's no reason to sign a ban because we've gotten what everybody wanted. Democrats, Republicans,
Democrats have
and
stopped
everybody
arguing
else,
for a pro-choice
and every
position and
legal
have started
scholar
arguing for
wanted
a
it to be brought back
pro-abortion
into the
position.
states, the
And it's
states
very
are voting.
fucking weird.
And it may take a little time, but for 52 years, this issue has torn our country apart. And they've wanted it back in the states. And I did something that nobody thought was possible. The states are now voting. What she says is an absolute lie. And as far as the abortion ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if it came to your desk?
Well, I won't have to because, again, two things. Number one,
he
she
should just say yes to this hypothetical.
It's impossible for her to get the vote, especially now with the 50-50.
Right, like it doesn't make him look good by just like kind of talking around it instead of directly answering it.
She can't get the vote. She won't even come close to it. So it's just talk. You know what it reminds me of when they said they're going to get student loans terminated.
So like, what is he talking about? Why are you doing this? Just answer the fucking question, Trump, man.
Student loans, and then her, I think probably her boss.
Why are you tangenting instead of answering the question?
But look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. And he went out, got rejected again by the Supreme Court. So all these students got taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea. And how unfair that would have been, part of the reason they lost, to the millions and millions of people.
He can't say yes because he needs the staunch anti-abortion crowd?
They didn't get
Come
it for
on,
free.
dude. If you can get pandered to by this kind of like tangenting around a question, you probably should have your right to vote revoked. Let's be real.
J.D. Vance has said that you would veto it if it did come to your desk.
Well, I didn't discuss it with J.D. In all fairness, J.D. And I don't mind if he has a certain view, but I think he was speaking for me, but I really didn't. Look, we don't have to discuss it because she'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come close to getting student loans. They taunted young people and a lot of other people that had loans. They can never get
He's
this
debating
approved.
3 people.
So it
Yeah, it's kind of unfair that they are, trying to argue for her.
But the fact is that for years they wanted to get it out of Congress and out of the federal government, and we did something that everybody said couldn't be done. And now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
Vice President Harris, I want to give you your time to respond, but I do want to ask, would you support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade, and as you
That wasn't the question.
rightly mentioned, nowhere in America
That literally wasn't the
is
question.
A woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion. That is not happening. It's insulting to the women of America. And understand what has been happening under Donald Trump's abortion bans. Couples who pray and dream of having a family are being denied IVF
He has a good point about saying he doesn't even need to worry about vetoing it. I
happening
mean,
in
I know
our
he has a
country?
point saying that, but to just answer the hypothetical as it is, I think would have been better.
Who can barely afford childcare as it is, have to travel to another state to get on a plane sitting next to strangers to go and get the health care she needs.
Wait, why is it crazy to sit on a
Barely
plane next
can
to
afford
strangers,
to
but it's
do
fine
it,
to
and
flood our
what you
country
are
with
putting
criminals?
her
Why?
through
Hold on, wait a minute.
Is unconscionable. And the people of America have not, the majority of Americans believe in a woman's right to make decisions about her own body, and that is why in every state where
Why is she calling abortion child care? Because killing your child is a type of care, if you think about it.
Voted for freedom.
Vice President Harris,
Excuse me, I have to respond. Another lie. It's another lie. I have been a leader on IVF, which is fertilization. The IVF, I have been a leader. In fact, when they got a very negative decision on IVF from the Alabama courts, I saw the people of Alabama and the legislature 2 days later voted it in. I've been a leader on it. They know that, and everybody else knows it. I have been a leader on fertilization, IVF. And the other thing, you should ask, will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask her that question?
Why don't you answer the
No, that's a good point. They asked him if he would veto it. Why didn't they ask her?
You could do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th month, and probably after birth. Just look at the governor, former governor of Virginia.
She did the same weaseling he did around the other question.
Put the baby aside, and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to immigration and border security. We know it's an issue that's important to Republicans, Democrats, voters across the board in this country.
Why wasn't your mic
Vice
muted?
President
Good
Harris,
question.
you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high.
Wait. Biden actually tasked her with handling that?
President
And
Biden
we're now
imposed
in the
tough new
situation we're
asylum
in?
restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. And let me say that the United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill, which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime, trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected
Please don't
by the
mention
surge
George
of
Floyd.
fentanyl in
Please.
our country.
Please, I
that
beg.
bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress, and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem.
Was this the border bill where it was also like several billion more for Ukraine? I vaguely remember reading this on stream with everyone.
We need a leader who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires.
She's got to be talking to the illegal immigrants right now, right?
A president
because he directly talks to the American citizens all the fucking time.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so? That would have
because
put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border.
Because the bill was bad for the American citizens. It wasn't about border protection.
She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago.
The only time people leave Trump rallies is when psychopaths show up and do illegal things with firearms. You're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. There's literally a news article of a woman eating a cat, and yet people are still saying that it's fake.
As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country, and if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, will end up being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals.
There's quite literally a news article of it. What do they mean?
Let me just say here, this is the
people on
also, why do they keep fighting on Kamala's side? Why don't they fact check any of the lies that she's been telling?
Maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from television.
But the people
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the city
saying their
manager.
dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've heard.
You talk about extreme.
The fucking cackle,
this
dude.
This is, I think, one of the reasons why in this election, I actually have the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have formerly worked with President Bush, Mitt Romney, and John McCain, including the endorsement of former Vice President Dick Cheney and Congress member Liz Cheney.
Okay, so everybody who hates Trump because he actually wants to do things for the American citizens and not for cheap labor.
If you didn't make it clear already, just ask people who have worked with him. His former chief of staff, a 4-star general, has said he has contempt for the Constitution of the United States.
He's the only
His
one who
former
doesn't.
National
What do you
Security Advisor
mean?
has said he is dangerous and unfit. His former Secretary of Defense has said the nation, the Republic, would never survive another Trump term. And when we
There's so much projection here because they're trying to dismantle the Republic.
When the issues that affect the American people are not being addressed, I think the choice is clear in this election.
President Trump, I'll give you a quick minute to respond here.
Thank you, because when I hear that, see, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired most of those people. Not so graciously. They did bad things or a bad job. I fired them. They never fired one person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban and the 13 people whose were just killed, viciously and violently killed. And I got to know the parents and the family. They didn't fire. They should have fired all those generals, all those top people, because that was one of the most incompetently handled situations anybody has ever seen.
The four-star general's Malay, the guy that disobeyed Trump orders and lied about removing troops from Syria.
And you take a guy like Esper, he was no good, I fired him, so he writes a book. Another one writes a book.
Absolutely
because with
insane.
me, they can write books. With nobody else can they. But they have done such a poor job, and they never fire
They're saying
anybody.
the pet eating didn't
Look
happen
at
in
the
Springfield,
economy.
which is
Look
true. It
at
happened in
the
Camden,
inflation.
which is also
they
in
didn't
Ohio.
fire any of their
I don't remember what
economists. They
town
have
it's
the
in,
same
but if they're just
people.
playing
That's
that
a
like
good
city
way
weasel
not
word
to have
game,
books
that's
written
fucked.
about you. But just to finish, I got more votes than any Republican in history by far. In fact, I got more votes than any president, sitting president, in history by far.
Let me continue on immigration. It was what you wanted to talk about earlier, so let's get back
Yeah,
to your
why did we tangent onto this weird,
proposal
slanderous
that the
little
vice
hill
president
here?
has reacted to as well. President Trump, you call this the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. You say you would use the National Guard. You say if things get out of control, you'd have no problem using the U.S.
With local
military.
police, yes.
You also said you would use local police. How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? I know you believe that number is much higher. Take us through this. What does this look like? Will authorities be going door to door in this country?
Yeah, it is much higher because of them. They allowed criminals, many millions of criminals. They allowed terrorists. They allowed common street criminals. They allowed people to come in, drug dealers, to come into our country. And they're now in the United States and told by their countries like Venezuela, don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Do you know that crime in Venezuela and crime in countries all over the world is way down? You know why? Because they've taken their criminals off the street and they've given them to her to put into our country. And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow.
Okay, but
and I
like,
think they
answer the
probably did it
question.
because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in, and all over the world, crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up.
Yeah, no, we know all the
roof,
issues they're
despite
creating,
their
but like, how are you going to get rid of
fraudulent
them?
statements that they made. Crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. And it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice
Excuse me,
President
the
Harris,
FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud. Just like their number of 818,000 jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
President Trump, thank you. I'll let you respond, Vice President Harris.
Well, I think this is so rich, coming from someone who has been prosecuted.
Oh, boy.
For national security crimes, economic crimes, election interference, has been found liable for sexual assault, and his next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentencing. And let's be clear, where each person stands on the issue of what is important about
I wonder how many people saw that video. I think it was James O'Keefe maybe that posted it.
The former vice
Where
president
the one DA guy was saying how they stacked charges on him purposely.
45,000 agents, get this, on the day after he was arraigned on 34 felony counts. So let's talk about what is important in this race. It is important that we move forward,
Steven
that
Crowder?
we turn the page
I couldn't
on
remember.
this
Thank you, Chat.
same old tired rhetoric and address the needs of the American people, address what we need to do about the housing shortage, which I have a plan for, address what we must do to support our small businesses, address
I like how
bringing down the
neither
price
of them
groceries.
answered the fucking question
But
this
frankly,
time.
the American
Like, that
people
was such a
are
layup,
exhausted
easy
with the
question for
same
Trump to
old tired
answer as
playbook.
well.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Excuse me. Every one of those cases was started by them against their political opponent. And I'm winning most of them, and I will win the rest on appeal. And you saw that with the decision that came down just recently from the Supreme Court. I'm winning most of them. But those are cases, it's called weaponization. Never happened in this country. They weaponized the Justice Department. Every one of those cases was involved with the DOJ, from Atlanta and Fani Willis to the Attorney General of New York and the DA in New York. Every one of those cases. And then they say, oh, he's a criminal. They're the ones that made them go after me. By the way, Joe Biden was found essentially guilty on the documents case. And what happened in my documents case? They said, oh, that's the toughest of them all. A complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out. It's weaponization.
He's speaking truth,
and
but our
they
guy
used
needs to
it, and
answer
it's never
questions
happened
and
in
not
this country.
tangent. Very
they
true.
used it to try and win an election.
President
They're
Trump,
fake cases.
President Trump, thank you. A really quick response here, Vice President Harris, on this notion of weaponization of the Justice Department.
Well, let's talk about extreme and understand the context in which this election in 2024 is taking place.
I feel like
the United States Supreme Court.
Am I misremembering, or has she been able to get like the last word on every single question so far?
Immune from any misconduct if he were to enter the White House again. Understand, this is someone who has openly said he would terminate, I'm quoting, terminate the Constitution of the United States, that he would weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies. Someone who has openly expressed disdain for
Trump
members
did on the
of
first
our
few questions, you
military.
think?
Understand.
I've just
what
like
it
the
would
last
mean if
couple of
Donald
questions
Trump
I've
were
noticed
back
she's
in the
gotten the
White
last
House
word, so I'm
with
just like, what
no
the fuck?
guardrails, because certainly we know now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people.
Vice President
stop
Harris,
him.
thank you. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president.
This is the one that weaponized.
Oh, there we
not
go.
me.
There we go.
She
Fucking
weaponized.
wedge in there, dude.
I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me. They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy with a fake Russia investigation
We do have a lot
that
to get.
went nowhere.
We have a lot to get to. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president, you said you wanted to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't. You supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
So my values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss every one of the, at least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking, because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States. And in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking. My position is that we have got to invest in diverse sources of energy so we reduce our reliance on foreign oil. We have had the largest increase in domestic oil production in history because of an approach that recognizes that we cannot over-rely on foreign oil.
That's a lot
As
you
it
haven't
relates
done
to my
as the
values,
vice
let me tell you,
president.
I grew up a middle-class kid raised by a hardworking mother who worked and saved
You already
and was
said
able
that
to
at the
buy our
beginning.
first home when I was a teenager. The values I bring to the importance of home ownership, knowing not everybody got handed $400 million on a silver platter and then filed bankruptcy 6 times, is a value that I bring to my work to say we are going to work with the private sector and home
I hope he does
builders
bring up the
to
Keystone
increase
Pipeline, man.
3 million homes, increase by 3 million homes by the end of my first term. My work that is related to having a friend when I was in high school who was sexually assaulted by her stepfather.
What the
And
fuck
my
does that
focus
have to
then
do with
on protecting
anything?
women and children from violent crime is based on a value
What does this
that
have
is
to do with
deeply
fracking?
grounded in
What
the
is going
importance
on?
of standing up for those who are most vulnerable. My work that is about protecting Social Security and Medicare is based on long-standing work that I have done, protecting seniors from scams. My values have not changed. And what is important is that there is a president who actually brings values and a perspective that is about lifting people up and not beating people down. And name calling. The true measure of the leader is the leader who actually understands the strength is not in beating people down, it's in lifting people up.
No, some people do need to get beat down, though.
President Trump, your response?
First of all, I wasn't given $400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him. But I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I built it into many, many billions of dollars, many, many billions. And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police, she's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up.
Wait.
Very wrongly, very horribly.
Does he mean that she's been
and
for
everybody's
defund
laughing
the
at
police?
It, okay, they're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like
she was the police.
She was big on defund the police. In Minnesota,
Oh yeah, there we
she
go.
went
He
out-
corrected
I'm
himself. I was like,
talking
hold
now.
on.
If you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar? She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let
Also, he
criminals
did the
that
thing.
killed
He
people,
stole her
that
bit.
burned down
He did the
Minneapolis.
thing.
She went out and raised
I
money
was
to
drinking
get him
when
out
he
of
did it.
jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison.
Wait,
this
what?
is a radical left liberal
Wait,
that would
wait,
do this.
wait, hold
she
on,
wants
what?
to confiscate your guns, and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election, fracking in Pennsylvania will end on day one. Just to finish one thing.
was on
so
CNN this
important,
morning?
in my opinion. So I got the oil business going like nobody has ever done before. When they took over, they got rid of it, started getting rid of it, and the prices
It's on her
were
website.
going
I'll need a
up
link to that
the
fucking
roof. They immediately
trans
let these
surgeries
guys
for
go
illegals thing.
to where they were. I would have been 5 times, 4 times, 5 times higher, because you're talking about 3.5 years ago. They got it up to where I was because they had no choice, because the prices of energy were quadrupling and doubling. You saw what happened to gasoline. So they said, let's go back to Trump. But if she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country, and oil will be dead, fossil fuel will be dead. We'll go back to windmills, and we'll go back to solar, where they need a whole desert to get some energy to come out of. You ever see a solar plant? By the way, I'm a big fan of solar, but they take 400, 500 acres of desert
President
soil.
Trump, we have a
These
lot
are
of
not good
issues
things
that we
for the
have to get to.
environment, as
We're
she
out of time.
understands.
Thank you.
Lindsay, thank you. We have an
Can
election
we get
in just
nuclear
56
energy,
days.
actually?
And I want to talk about the peaceful transfer of power, which, of course, we all know is a cornerstone of our democracy, and the role of a president in a moment of crisis. Mr. President, on January 6th, you told your supporters to march to the Capitol. You said you would be right there with them. The country and the world saw what played out at the Capitol that day, the officers coming under attack. Aides in the West Wing say you watched it unfold on television off the Oval Office. You did send out tweets, but it was more than 2 hours before you sent out that video message telling your supporters to go home. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day?
You just said a thing that isn't covered. Peacefully and patriotically, I said during my speech, not later on. Peacefully and patriotically. And nobody on the other side was killed.
And again, it's better to
Ashley
go take
Babbitt
your
was
grievances
shot
to
by
the
an
actual people in
out-of-control
power
police officer
than it is to
that
burn
should have
down
never,
random
ever
citizens'
shot
businesses
her.
and cities.
It's a disgrace. But we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly. I ask, what about all the people that are pouring into our country and killing people that she allowed to pour in? She was the border czar, remember that. She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border. In fact, she said at the beginning, "Oh, I'm surprised you're not talking about the border yet." That's because she knows
He
what a
keeps
bad
lying.
job they've
She
done.
literally
What
said
about
that
those
was
people?
her job.
When are
He's
they
not
gonna be
lying about anything
prosecuted?
right now.
When are these people from countries all over the world, not just South America, they're coming in from all over the world, David, all over the world. And crime rates are down all over the world because of it.
But let me just
when
ask
are those, David, when are those people going to be prosecuted? When are the people that burned down Minneapolis going to be prosecuted? Or in Seattle? They went into
Fucking
Seattle.
never.
They took over a big percentage of the city of Seattle. When are those people going to be prosecuted?
But let me just ask
you. You might ask her that question.
You were the president. You were watching it unfold on television. It's a very simple question as we move forward toward another election. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day? Yes, sir.
I had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C., and the mayor put it back in writing, as you know. I said, you know, this is going to be a very big rally or whatever you want to call it. And again, it wasn't done by me. It was done by others. I said, I'd like to give you 10,000 National Guard or soldiers.
And they said no.
They rejected me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just 2 weeks ago. Her daughter has a tape of her saying she is fully responsible for what happened. They want to get rid of that tape. It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their jobs. I wasn't responsible for security. Nancy Pelosi
Trump
was
versus
responsible.
moderators.
She
Yeah,
didn't
tale
do her
is old
job.
as time.
question was
Doesn't
about
matter
you
if
as
Kamala
president,
doesn't
not
have
about
notes.
former
I mean,
Speaker
she's taking
Pelosi, but I
notes.
do
It doesn't
want
matter if
Vice
she has
President Harris to
pre-recorded
respond
notes if they just fight for her, you know?
I was at the Capitol on January 6th. I was the vice president-elect. I was also an acting senator. I was there. And on that day, the President of the United States incited a violent mob to attack our nation's capital.
All the little grandmas being let through the barriers by the police that are on
that
tape.
Day,
A riot.
140 law enforcement officers were injured, and some died. And understand,
wasn't there only
former
one death, and it was the
president
woman that
has
was
been
killed
indicted
by
and
police?
impeached for exactly that reason. But this is not an isolated situation. Let's remember Charlottesville.
Why?
Where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side.
That's not what he said. How are you still telling this
when
lie?
it came to the Proud
How are you
Boys
still
and
telling this lie when he's had to repeatedly go and say that he denounces white supremacy in all of its forms? This fucking woman, I swear to God, if the leftists didn't lie, they'd literally have no platform to even push.
We don't have to go back. Let's not go back. We're not going back. It's time to turn the page. And if that was a bridge too far for you, well, there is a
surely
place
they'll correct her like they've done Trump
our
multiple
campaign
times.
for you.
Surely.
To stand for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law, and to end the chaos, and to end the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't like the outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking. Let's turn the page on this. Let's not go back. Let's chart a course for the future. And
If
not
we're all
go
on board with
backwards to
ruining the
past.
country,
Let me just follow up
there
here.
won't be anyone to argue.
It was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy because they have destroyed our energy business. That was where bloodbath was. Also, on Charlottesville, that story has been, as you would say, debunked. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people, they covered it. If they go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect. It was debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring 2025 up. They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you this. You talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people to come through on the southern border? How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous.
What is he talking about?
Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The President of the United States, you'll get him out of bed, you'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you'll say, come on down to the office, let's sign a bill.
Well, like he makes the point. Like, why isn't she doing anything right now? Right? Like, most people aren't thinking about this.
To the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the
But it
border
has nothing to
is
do with the
closed.
question that was asked.
Those people are killing many people, unlike J6.
We talked immigration here tonight. I do want to focus on this next issue to both of you because it really brings us this into focus, truth in these times that we're living in. Mr. President, for 3.5 years after you lost the 2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that that you came up a little bit short.
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge that at all. I
You
said
did
that
say
sarcastically. You know that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically. Look, there's so much proof. All you have to do is look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislatures for approval. I got almost 75
I'm honestly
million
surprised
votes,
that the
most
people
votes
with the
any sitting
Biden-Trump one
president has
before were
ever
less
gotten.
biased than
I was told
this.
if I got 63, which was what I got in 2016, you can't be beaten. The election.
He's letting them
people
get
should
under his
never
skin
be
a bit.
thinking
I
about
can't
an
blame him,
election as
honestly. If
fraudulent.
all they
We
do
need
is
two
lie,
things. We
and
need
you have to
walls,
debunk the
we
same
need-
lies
and
year
we have to
after
have
year
it.
after
We have to
year.
have borders, and we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad. And a lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English. They don't even know what country they're in practically. And these people are trying to get them to vote. And that's why they're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all of these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker. We didn't quite make it. And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60 cases.
Why don't they argue with Kamala about any of the shit that she says? Like, this is literally a
That's the other
3v1,
thing.
dude. He's
They said
ganged
we
up
didn't have
on.
standing, a technicality. Can you imagine a system where a person in an election doesn't have standing? The president of the United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost. If you look at the facts, and I'd love to have you'll do a special on it. I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania, and
Arizona.
we have so many facts and statistics, but you know what? That doesn't matter, because we have to solve the problem that we have right now. That's old news. And the problem that we have right now is we have a nation in decline, and they have put it into decline. We have a nation that is dying, David.
I wonder if they're ganging up on him to try to get him to walk off. I think they're just trying to make him look like unhinged and defensive.
So he still believes he did not
Which,
lose
like,
the election.
Unfortunately for undecided
That was
voters, like
won by
those of us who
President Biden,
actually pay
and
attention,
yourself.
we know what they're lying
But I do want to
about.
ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this
Yeah, should we
upcoming
call out the
election just
3v1?
weeks away.
Same.
He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us. We won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election. And I'm going to tell you that I
He
have
gave her the
traveled the world
script in
as
question
Vice
for,
President of the
yeah,
United
pretty
States.
much.
And
These aren't
world
even
leaders are
softballs
laughing at
anymore. They're
Donald
like
Trump.
fucking Twinkies, dude.
I have talked with military leaders, some of whom worked with you, and they say you're a disgrace. And when you then talk in this way in a presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost.
He hasn't lost
because
any of the court
you did,
cases.
in fact, lose that election. It leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the
They won't
candidate
correct
to
her?
my
Of course
right
not,
the
because they're only
temperament
there to correct him, I guess.
or the ability to not be confused about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American
And even
people
when they
deserve
correct him,
better.
they're not even entirely
I'll give
right.
you
They
1
use
minute to
weasel
respond,
words to
Let
make
me
him
just
look
say about
wrong, like
world
the
leaders.
fucking town in
Viktor
Ohio
Orban,
thing.
one of the most respected men. They call him a strong man. He's a tough person, smart. Prime Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, because you need Trump back as president. They were afraid of him. China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him.
Based Orban.
China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way. He said Russia was afraid of him. I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one.
Biden killed
but he
our
ended the
pipeline
XL
and put
pipeline.
Nord Stream back.
The XL pipeline.
Most confusing
in our country,
thing I
he
had
ended
seen
that. But
in
he
the
let
beginning of the
Russians
presidency.
build a pipeline going all over Europe and heading into Germany, the biggest pipeline in the world. Look, Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president.
I'm
but
so
when this
glad he
weak,
mentioned the fucking
pathetic
pipeline.
Man
I wanted
that
him
you
to
saw
earlier.
at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her.
Wait,
but
how would you know
that?
that?
14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but I'm okay with it because
your time is
I
up.
think we're going to do very well.
We've got a lot more to get to.
Turning now to the Israel-Hamas war and the hostages who are still being held, Americans among them. Vice President Harris, in December, you said, quote, Israel has a right to defend itself, but you added, quote, it matters how, saying international humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead. Nearly 100 hostages remain. Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7, Hamas, a terrorist organization, slaughtered 1,200 Israelis. Many of them young people who were simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so absolutely, I said then, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would.
Ooh, she is about to get
and how it does
blistered
so
by her base, dude.
Because it is also true, far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end immediately, and the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that. Work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state solution. And in that solution, there must be security for the Israeli people and Israel, and in equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to Iran and any threat that Iran and its proxies pose to Israel. But we must have a two-state solution where we can rebuild Gaza.
Can I ask why part of the American presidential debate
self-determination
is about how much support we're going to give Israel?
President Trump,
am I allowed to ask that question?
Netanyahu and also Hamas in order to get the hostages out and prevent the killing of more innocent civilians in Gaza.
If I were president, it would have never started. If I were president, Russia would have never, ever, I know Putin very well, he would have never, and there was no threat of it either, by the way, for 4 years, have gone into Ukraine and killed millions of people when you add it up, far worse than people understand what's going on over there. But when she mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She refused to be there because she was at a sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party. She hates Israel. If she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way,
is this something that like any American citizens genuinely care about?
Because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel will be gone. It would have never happened. Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the 28 different spheres of terror. And they are spheres of terror, horrible terror. They had no money. It was a big story.
Not my clay, not my countrymen, not my problem. Why is this a part of our presidential debates?
Now they're a rich nation. And now what they're doing is they're spreading that money around. Look at what's happening with the Houthis and Yemen. Look at what's going on in the Middle East. This would have never happened.
I wish we were playing terror during
I will
the
get that
presidential
settled
debates.
and fast, and I'll get the war with Ukraine and Russia ended. If I'm president-elect, I'll get it done before even becoming president.
Vice President Harris, he says you hate Israel.
That's absolutely not true. I have my entire career and life supported Israel and the Israeli people. He knows that. He's trying to, again, divide and distract from the reality.
Okay, but which one of you loves America more? Which one of you cares about American citizens
national
more?
Security and foreign policy. It is well
That's
known
that's what I
that
would
he
like to
admires
hear
dictators,
in the
wants
American
to be a
presidential
dictator on
debate.
day one, according to himself. It is well known that he said of Putin that he can do whatever the hell he wants.
Probably
and
the
go
guy
into
with the MAGA
Ukraine.
slogan. Yeah, I mean,
It
it's a
is well
rhetorical,
known
obviously,
that he
but it's
said
just
when
like
Russia went into Ukraine.
this seems
it
very
was
silly to have in the
brilliant.
presidential
It is
debate.
well known he exchanged love letters with Kim Jong-un. And it is absolutely well known.
He didn't exchange love letters. He was just the only person who was willing to have a conversation with the dude, which I think is a good diplomatic strategy.
They're so clear. They can manipulate you with flattery and favors. And that is why
That's why he imposed
so
tariffs
many
on China
military
for
leaders who you
manipulation
have
and
worked
flattery.
with
What the
have told
fuck is she
me,
talking about?
You are a disgrace. That is why we understand that we have to have a president
Didn't
who
he
is
insult
not
Kim on Twitter? He
consistently
did.
weak and wrong on
Vice
national
President
security,
Harris.
including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
And she's the one that caused it. That's weak on national security by allowing every nation last month for the year, 168 different countries sending people into our country. Their crime rates are way down.
Crime
Putin
rates. He talks
endorsed her
like me.
last week, said, I hope she wins. And I think he meant it, because what he's gotten away with is absolutely incredible. It wouldn't have happened with me. The leaders of other countries think that they're weak and incompetent, and they are. They're grossly incompetent. And I just ask one question. Why does Biden go in and kill the Keystone Pipeline and approve the single biggest deal that Russia's ever made, Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world going to Germany and all over Europe? Because they're weak and they're ineffective. And Biden, by the way,
President
gets paid
Trump,
a lot of money.
Thank you. We have a lot of issues to get to.
We'll be right back with much more of this historic ABC News presidential debate.
Oh, we
from
get
the
a little
National
commercial break,
Constitution Center
chat.
right here in Philadelphia.
It's commercial break time. It's commercial break time. Hold on, I got a link from my moderators here. I got a link here. We got a New York Post article. Kamala Harris told ACLU she'd fund trans surgeries. Oh boy. Hold on, I gotta move my browser way up here because I have it fully stacked. Kamala Harris told ACLU she'd fund trans surgeries for migrant inmates, decriminalize drugs, and end ICE detainers during 2020 campaign. Remember, her values have not changed. Hey, she just said that. Vice President Kamala Harris backed spending taxpayer dollars on gender reassignment surgeries for prison inmates, decriminalizing drugs, and ending U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement detainers for illegal immigrants accused of crimes in response to a questionnaire from the left-wing American Civil Liberties Union during her ill-fated 2020 presidential campaign. I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't even remember she fucking ran in 2020. I know, Trump brought up that she didn't get, any votes at all. I didn't even remember her running. The survey was resurfaced by CNN just over 24 hours before Harris and former President Donald Trump square off in the only scheduled debate in Philadelphia. Kamala's support for the decriminalization of all drugs will worsen the drug epidemic in this country, leading to more overdoses, deaths, homelessness, and heartbreak. Kamala's plan to fund sex change surgeries for illegal immigrants is absolutely insane and unfair to American taxpayers. Kamala Harris is dangerously liberal. Please don't call her liberal. Be like Trump. Call her the Marxist that she is. She is not a liberal. This term has been tainted, and even us who are against these people have fallen for it and have called them liberals. They're not. They have co-opted the term and they want to be called liberals, but that's not what they are. She got blown the fuck out by Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi cooked her so hard she had to quit. Imagine. I was like, I can't believe this was actually real. The then senator from California affirmed that she would use executive power as president to ensure transgender and non-binary individuals, including those in prison and immigration detention, get access to all necessary surgical care. Harris noted that while the Golden State's Attorney General, she had pushed for the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation to offer transgender surgeries to inmates. I support policies ensuring that federal prisons and detainees are able to obtain medically necessary care for gender transition, including surgical care, while incarcerated or detained. Transition treatment is medically necessary. And I will direct all federal agencies responsible for providing essential medical care to deliver transition treatment. Well, there we have it, bro. She did, in fact, say that. Holy shit. Holy fuck. That is actually insane. Medically necessary. I know. It's wild. There we go. Let's bring this bag down here. Medically necessary to propagate my ideology, true and real. That's a fantastic idea. Let's give them sex changes so they can rape or be raped in jail. I just like it's like the people who are like, yeah, let the men who identify as women go to women's prisons. What could possibly go wrong? I feel like there's cheaper ways to sterilize inmates. Bring her the next half of her script. I just like, I cannot believe, right? Like Trump is a little too tangenty. And I can understand getting annoyed that he has to reiterate the debunking of shit that people have been saying since like 2018. He's probably fucking tired of it. I'd be fucking tired of it. But it's just like, what else are you supposed to do when you have like 65 IQ people who are going to be believing the lies she's spewing on stage, you know? He's just like us. He yapping good. He's yapping. What is this? No fear!
Is this our combat operations center?
We're approaching the gate. Militants came in from...
Hi. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Ismail? David.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched.
Is this the guy in the debate with the like crooked mouth? Is that him? It looks like him.
Keep streaming with ABC News Live.
Whatever he does, for the love of God, don't tangent to immigration
Live
again.
From the National Constitution
To be
Center
fair
in
to Trump and his immigration tangents, immigration affects a lot. It affects security, it affects crime, it affects the economy. And with the amount of illegals and migrants flooding into the country, it is relevant to a bunch of different things.
Mr. President, it has
but
been the
people
position of the Biden administration
probably just aren't going to
that we
believe
must
him the more he
defend
tangents
Ukraine
on it,
from Russia,
unfortunately.
from Vladimir Putin, to defend their sovereignty, their democracy.
It's the biggest issue.
that
I
it's
would
in
say it is
America's
one of
best
the biggest
interest to
issues,
do
yeah.
so, arguing that if Putin wins, he may be emboldened to move even further into other countries. You have said you would solve this war in 24 hours. You said so just before the break tonight. How exactly would you do that? And I want to ask you a very simple question tonight. Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I want the war to stop. I want to save lives that are being uselessly, people being killed by
What a
the
fucking
millions.
loaded
It's the
question. Do you
millions.
want Ukraine
It's so
to
much
win?
worse
How the fuck is
than
he
the
supposed to
numbers that you're
answer
getting
that?
with your fake numbers. Look, we're in for 250 billion or more because they don't ask
so
Europe,
much money.
which is a much bigger beneficiary to getting this thing done than we are. They're in for $150 billion less because Biden and you don't have the courage to ask Europe like I did with NATO.
True.
They paid billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars when I said, either you pay up or we're not going to protect you anymore. So that's maybe one of the reasons they don't like me as much as they like weak people. But you take a look at what's happening. We're in for 250 to 275 billion. They're into 100 to 150. They should be forced to equalize. With that being said, I want to get the war settled. I know Zelensky very well, and I know Putin very well. I have a good relationship, and they respect your president, okay? They respect me. They don't respect Biden. How would you respect him? Why? For what reason?
True.
He hasn't even made a phone call in 2 years to Putin, hasn't spoken to anybody. They don't even try and get it. That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before I even become president. If I win, when I'm president-elect, and what I'll do is I'll speak to one, I'll speak to the other, I'll get them together. That war would have never happened. And in fact, when I saw Putin after I left,
I would be
unfortunately
very willing
left
to believe
because
that.
our country has gone to hell. But after I left, when I saw him building up soldiers, he did it after I left. I said, oh, he must be negotiating. It must be a good, strong point of negotiation. Well, it wasn't, because Biden had no idea how to talk to him. He had no idea how to stop
Why not do it now
and
then?
you have
Because
millions
Trump
of
isn't the
people dead,
president. What
and
do you
it's
mean? He's
only
not.
getting
He's
worse,
not
and
in
it could
any sort
lead
of
to
position of
World War
power.
III. Don't kid yourself, David. We're playing with World War III, and we have a president that we don't even know if he's. Where is our president? We don't even know if he's a president.
And just to clarify
they
here,
threw him out of a campaign like a dog. We don't even know. Is he our president?
That's
but
a good
we have
point.
a president,
Mr. President,
that doesn't know he's alive.
your time is up. Just to clarify in the question, do you
Stop
believe it's in the
hiding Biden.
U.S. best interest for Ukraine to win this war? Yes
What a
or no?
I think
fucking
it's
loaded
the U.S. best
question.
interest to get this war finished and just get it done.
All right.
Good
Negotiate a
answer.
deal,
Good
because we
response
have
to this
stop
fucking
all of
loaded
these
shit.
Human lives from being destroyed.
I want to take this to Vice
More
President
loaded than
Harris. I want to get
nachos
your
from a
thoughts
authentic
on,
Mexican
support for
street cart,
Ukraine
dude.
in this moment, but also as Commander-in-Chief, if elected, how would you deal with Vladimir Putin, and would it be any different from what we're seeing from President Biden?
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me.
I mean, you've
believe
probably been the
reason
one
that
who's
Donald
doing
Trump
stuff for
says
Biden
that
behind the
this
scenes
war would
anyway,
be
so
over within 24 hours is
Basically
because he
the
would
same
just give
thing.
it up. And that's not who we are as Americans. Let's understand what happened here. I actually met with Zelensky a few days before Russia invaded, tried through force to change territorial boundaries, to defy one of the most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I met with President Zelensky. I shared with him American intelligence about how he could defend himself. Days later, I went to NATO's eastern flank, to Poland and Romania. And through the work that I and others did, we brought 50 countries together to support
So what you're saying is, instead of ending the war like Trump wants to do, you're going to keep it going in order to ensure a Ukrainian victory, no matter how many lives or how much money is lost.
The javelins, the Abrams tanks that we have provided, Ukraine stands as an independent and free country. If Donald Trump were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. And understand what that would mean.
Kiev.
Because
Have I been
Putin's
pronouncing it wrong?
agenda is not just about Ukraine. Understand why the European allies and our NATO allies are so thankful that you are no longer president, and that we understand the importance of the greatest military alliance the world has ever known, which is NATO, and what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians to fight for their independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator.
He never said he was going to give up a country, or he was going to just default say, okay, Russia, you can have it. Ending the war means coming to a peaceful solution.
I wanted her to respond to something you said earlier, and now, please, I'll give you a minute here.
Putin would be sitting in Moscow, and he wouldn't have lost 300,000 men and women, but he would have been sitting in Moscow. Quiet, please. He would have been sitting in Moscow, much happier than he is right now. But eventually, you know, he's got a thing that other people don't have. He's got nuclear weapons. They don't ever talk about that. He's got nuclear weapons. Nobody ever thinks about that. And eventually, maybe he'll use them, and maybe he hasn't been that threatening, but he does have that. Something we don't even like to talk about. Nobody likes to talk about it. But just so you understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started. 3 days later, he went in and he started the war because everything they said was weak and stupid. They said the wrong things. That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin.
And she is on the side of the big warmongers in the Uniparty.
And that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's worse than Biden. In my opinion, I think he's the worst president in the history of our country. She goes down as the worst vice president in the history of our country. But let me tell you something. She is a horrible negotiator. They sent her in to negotiate. As soon as they left, Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said it at the beginning of this debate, you're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fellow. And that is another one.
Didn't they talk about meeting with fucking Zelensky, not Putin? Hold on, wait a minute.
I met with him over
now they're
5
twisting
times.
what he said.
The reality is it has been about standing as America always should as a leader.
They sent her in to
upholding
negotiate with
international
Zelensky. She
rules
told
and
him a bunch of
norms.
bullshit,
As
and
a
then 3 days
leader
later,
who
Putin went and
shows
started war.
Strength, understanding that the alliances we have around the
She
world
said Zelensky.
are
It's
dependent
okay, just watch more
on our
Skibbity
ability
Toilet. Don't pay
look
attention to
out
what
for
he
our
actually said.
friends and not favor our enemies because you adore strongmen instead of caring about democracy. And that is very much what is at stake here. The President of the United States is commander-in-chief, and the American people have a right to rely on a president who understands the significance of America's role and responsibility.
The American people deserve to have a president that cares about their interests more than other countries' interests.
Sell them for the
Continuing another country's war is not
You
the
talked
way to
about
go
Ukraine
about
and
things for
Vladimir
American
Putin.
citizens.
I do want to talk about Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of this debate. I want to move on to Afghanistan.
Stoltenberg said Trump did the most amazing thing I've ever seen. He got these countries, the 28 countries at the time, to pay up. He said, I've never seen. He's the head of NATO. He said, I've never seen. For years, we were paying almost all of NATO. We were being ripped off by European nations, both on trade and on NATO. I got them to pay up by saying one of the statements you made before, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you.
President
Otherwise,
Trump.
we would have never gotten it. He said it was one of the most incredible jobs that he's ever seen done.
Thank you. I want to turn to Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of the debate, and we witnessed a poignant moment today on Capitol Hill, honoring the soldiers who died in the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. I do want to ask the Vice President, do you believe you bear any responsibility in the way that withdrawal played out?
Well, I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents said they would.
Like when
Joe
Trump
Biden
wanted to pull out and
as
tried
a
to
result,
pull out and was lied
America's
to by
taxpayers
Millet.
are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world, the first time this century. But let's understand how we got to where we are.
Syria?
Donald Trump, when he was
I'm
president,
pretty sure it was partially also
negotiated
Afghanistan. I could
one
be
of the
misremembering,
weakest
but I know
deals
most
you
of it
can
was Syria, and
imagine.
I'm
He
pretty sure
calls
there's a
himself
little bit of
deal
Afghanistan
maker.
as well.
Even his national security advisor said it was a weak, terrible deal. And here's how it went down. He bypassed the Afghan government. He negotiated directly with a terrorist organization called the Taliban. The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000 Taliban terrorists released. And get this, and the president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of storied significance for us as Americans, a place
don't
where we
remember this
honor
happening.
the importance of American diplomacy, where we invite and receive respected world leaders.
I feel like I'd remember if this happened.
Former president,
I remember the Biden
as
administration
president,
trading
invited
terrorists
them
for American
to
citizens
Camp
in like
David because he
Russia,
does not
right?
again
The basketball
appreciate
lady.
the role and responsibility of the President of the United States to be commander-in-chief with a level of respect. And this gets back to the point of how he has consistently disparaged and demeaned members of our military, fallen soldiers, and the work that we must do to uphold the
You mean
strength
the fallen soldiers'
and the
families who came out and said that they
respect of the United
appreciated that
States of
Trump
America
came and
around
showed
the
respect
world.
to
Vice
them?
President Harris,
Those
thank you.
families?
President Trump, your response to her saying that you began the negotiations with the Taliban.
So, if you take a look at that period of time, the
She's
Taliban
nothing but
was
pure lies and
killing
emotion.
our
You could have just
soldiers,
called her a woman,
a lot
though.
of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, you know, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved.
Basketball lady term used loosely since Brittany Griner's a
the
man.
Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban.
Some of the interviews I've seen
And I
look kinda
told
rough,
Abdul, don't
all
do
right?
it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement.
Abdul,
The
I know
reason
where you
it was
live.
good,
It's funny.
We were getting out. We would have been out faster than them, but we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind, and we wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind. And just to finish, they blew it. The agreement said you have to do this, 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 and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. The agreement was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
I want to move on.
And these people did the worst withdrawal, and in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you. I want to move on now to race and politics in this
Oh, boy.
country.
Oh,
Mr.
boy.
President, you recently said of Vice President Harris, quote, "I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black."
True.
I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
What the fuck kind of question is this?
I don't care what she is. I don't care.
He's weighing in because she's using
you
it as a
make big deal
talking
out of
point.
something, I couldn't
The
care
victim
less.
hierarchy.
Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those were your words, so I'm
I
asking.
don't know. I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Why can't he?
Vice
Why
President
can't he
Harris,
just
your
call
thoughts
her
on this?
out for playing identity politics?
I think it's, I mean, honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people. You know, I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach
Oh
that is
God,
just
this flowery
constantly
language. You
trying
already
to
called her a
divide us, and
Marxist,
especially by
Donald.
race.
Please.
And let's remember,
Nail her, dude.
how Donald Trump started. He was a land, he owned buildings, and he was investigated because he refused to rent property to black families. Let's remember, this is the same individual who took out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of 5 young black and Latino boys who were innocent, the Central Park 5.
Wasn't it?
Took out a
I
full-page
remember reading
ad
about the Central Park
calling
5
for
on
their
stream, but I don't
execution.
remember anything about
This is
it.
the same individual who spread birther lies about the first black president of the United States. And I think the American people...
Yeah, I remember it was a gang
want
rape
better
case,
than
but
that.
I don't remember
Well, better
anything
than
beyond
this.
that.
Want someone who understands, as I do, I travel our country. We see in each other a friend. We see in each other a neighbor. We don't want a leader who is constantly trying to have Americans point their fingers at each
You
other.
mean like your party's been
I
doing
meet
for the
with
last
people all
60,
the
70,
time
80 years?
who tell me, can we please just have discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people? Knowing that regardless of people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all
He
have
calls
the same
them
dreams
out
and
for playing
aspirations and
identity
want a
politics, and the
president
only
who
thing they have
invests
as a
in
retort
those,
is, "Yo,
not in
racist!
hate and division."
Yo, racist for noticing the way we twist things."
President Trump, this is now your 3rd time.
This is the most divisive presidency in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it. They're destroying our country, and they come up with things like what she just said. Going back many, many years, when a lot of people, including Mayor Bloomberg, agreed with me on the Central Park 5, they admitted, they said, they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. And if they pled guilty, then they pled, we're not guilty. But this is a person that has to stretch back years, 40, 50 years ago, because there's nothing now. I built one of the greatest economies in the history of the world, and I'm going to build it again. It's going to be bigger, better, and stronger. But they're destroying our economy. They have no idea what a good economy is. Their oil policies, every single policy. And remember this, she is Biden. You know, she's trying to get away from Biden. I don't know the gentleman, she says. She is Biden. The worst inflation we've ever had, a horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad, and she can't get away with that.
Thank you. Your time is up,
I
Lindsay.
want to respond to that, though. I want to just respond briefly. Clearly, I am not Joe
She
Biden.
is Biden.
And I am certainly not Donald Trump.
She was piloting
And what
his
I do
skin
offer
like a
is
mecha.
a new generation of leadership for our country. One who believes in what is possible, one who brings a sense of optimism.
The fucking fact check.
about
I'm
what we
actually
can
not Joe
do
Biden.
instead
Surprise.
of always disparaging the American people. I believe in what we can do to strengthen our small businesses, which is why I have a plan. Let's talk about our plans and let's compare the plans. I have a plan to give
what is
startup
that plan?
businesses
You never really detailed that when they asked the
tax
question earlier.
deduction to pursue their ambitions, their innovation, their ideas, their hard work. I have a plan, $6,000.
A plan saying
for
I will
young
give you
families for the first
$50,000
year
is
of
not a
your
plan.
child's
How do you
life
plan on doing
to
that without
help
creating
you
issues?
in that most critical stage of your child's development? I have a plan that is about allowing people to be able to pursue what has been fleeting in terms of the American dream by offering a help with down payment
This is like the dollar store version of the
payment
MLK I Have a
for
Dream
first-time
speech.
home buyers. That's the kind of conversation, I believe, David, that people really want tonight, as opposed to a conversation that is constantly about belittling and name-calling. Let's turn the page
Vice President
and move
Harris,
forward.
thank you. Let's turn to policy.
President
Let's
Trump,
turn back
we
to
have
policy.
to move on. President Trump.
Let's turn to policy,
She has
please.
a plan to defund the police. She has a plan to confiscate everybody's gun.
President Trump,
she
we
has
do
a
have to
plan
move
to
on to
not
other
allow
issues.
fracking in Pennsylvania or anywhere else.
Okay.
That's
you, Mr.
what her
President.
plan is until just recently.
I just need
Lindsay,
to
go ahead.
respond
President
because
Trump,
no, the
President
former
Trump.
president has said
No, I'm
something
sorry.
twice that I need to respond
No,
to.
I'm sorry. We're going to move on, Vice
one
President
time
Harris.
to what he has
President
said.
Trump, this is
Yes.
now your
Yes.
third time running for president. You have long vowed to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. You have failed to accomplish that. You now say you're going to keep Obamacare, quote, unless we can do something
He
much
did
better.
succeed in
Last month,
removing
you said,
the
quote, "We're
tax that
working
you
on
would
it."
have had
So
to pay
tonight,
for not
9
having
years
insurance.
After you first started running, do you have a plan, and can you
I know
tell
because
us what
this
it is?
specifically
Obamacare
affected
was
me
lousy
personally.
Healthcare always was. It's not very good today. And what I said that if we come up with something, and we are working on things, we're going to do it and we're going to replace it. But remember this. I inherited Obamacare because Democrats wouldn't change it. They wouldn't vote for it.
He
They
removed
were
the tax, kept
unanimous.
the
They
insurance.
wouldn't
Yeah, he
vote to
asked the
change it.
Republicans, so
If
what's
they
your
would've
plan
done
to
that, we
replace
would've
it?
had
And
a
none of
much
them had
better
fucking
plan than
anything.
Obamacare. But the
They just complained
Democrats
about
came up,
Obamacare
they
for
wouldn't
years and
vote
didn't
for
think of
it.
any way to
I
replace
had a
it.
choice to make when I was president. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, never going to be great, or do I let it rot? And I felt I had an obligation, even though politically it would have been good to just let it rot and let it go away. I decided, and I told my people, the top people, and they're very good people. I have a lot of good people in that administration. We read about the bad ones. We had some real bad ones, too, and so do they. They have really bad ones. The difference is they don't get rid of them. But let me just explain. I had a choice to make. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, or do I let it rot? And I saved it. I did the right thing. But it's
I don't know
still
about
never
that.
going to be great, and it's too expensive for people. And what we will do is we're looking at different plans. If we can come up with a plan that's going to cost our people, our population, less money and be better health care than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it. But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan. I'm not president right now. But if we come up with something, I would only change it if we come up with something that's better and less expensive. And there are concepts and options we have.
That is a
to do
fair
that.
response,
And you'll be hearing
and it
about
shouldn't be
in the
entirely on
not-too-distant
him
future.
to come up
Vice
with an
President
entire
Harris, in
plan
2017,
for
you
healthcare.
supported
That
Bernie
should be
Sanders'
something that
proposal
involves
to do
more
away with
people
private
than just
insurance
him.
and create a government-run healthcare system. 2 years later, you proposed a plan that included a private insurance option. What is your plan today?
Well, first of all, I absolutely support, and over the last 4 years as vice president, private health care options. But what we need to do is maintain and grow the Affordable Care Act. But I'll get to that, Lindsay. I just need to respond to a previous point that the former president has made. I've made
I like
very
how they
clear
call
my
him
position
former
on
president
fracking,
when all the
and
other
then this
presidents are
business
just
about
called
taking everyone's
president.
guns away. Tim Walz and I are both
I
gun
can't
owners.
stop
We're not
seeing
taking
that now that it was
anybody's
pointed
guns
out to
away.
me
So
earlier
stop
this year.
with the continuous lying about this stuff. As it relates to the Affordable Care Act, understand, just look at the history to know where people stand. When Donald Trump was president, 60 times he tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. 60 times. I was a senator at the time when I will never forget the early morning hours when it was up for a vote in the United States Senate. And the late, great John McCain, who you have disparaged as being.
I like how he's smiling as she
you
says
don't
that.
Like him, you said at the time,
Like, yeah, fuck
because
McCain.
he got caught. He was an American hero. The late great John McCain. I will never forget that night. Walked onto the Senate floor and said, "No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't get rid of the Affordable Care Act. You have no plan."
It's the Unaffordable
And what the
Care
Affordable
Act.
Care Act has
Excuse
done
me.
is eliminate the ability of insurance companies to deny people with pre-existing conditions. I don't have to tell the people watching tonight, you remember what that was like? Remember when an insurance company could deny?
I was
If a
denied
child had
for
asthma,
pre-existing
if someone
conditions.
was a breast
I did
cancer
not qualify
survivor,
for
if a
Obamacare.
grandparent had diabetes, and thankfully, as I've been vice president, and we over the last 4 years have strengthened the Affordable Care Act, we have allowed for the first time Medicare to negotiate drug prices on behalf of you, the American people. Donald Trump said he was going to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices. He never did. We did. And now we have capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month. Since I've been vice president, we have capped the cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000 a year. And when I am president, we will do that for all people, understanding that the value I bring to this is that access to health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it.
How is it a
And
right
the
that you
plan
have
has
access to
be
other people's
to
time
strengthen the
and
Affordable
knowledge
Care Act,
as doctors?
not get rid of it.
Vice
Pass his
President
prologue
Harris,
in
thank
terms
you.
of where Donald Trump stands on that.
I want to move to an issue that's important for a
She
lot
made
of
a mistake. Number one, John McCain fought Obamacare for 10 years. But it wasn't only him. It were all of the Democrats that kept it going. And you know what? We can do much better than Obamacare, much less money. But she won't improve private insurance for people, private medical insurance. That's another thing she doesn't want to get.
President
People
Trump.
are paying privately for insurance that have worked hard and made money, and they want to have private. She wants everybody to be on government insurance where you wait 6 months for an operation that you need immediately.
President Trump, thank you. We have another issue that we'd like to get to that's important for a number of Americans, in particular younger voters, and that's climate change. President Trump, with regard to the environment, you say that we have to have clean air and clean water. Vice President Harris, you call climate change an existential threat. The question to you both tonight is, what would you do to fight climate change? And Vice President Harris, we'll start with you. 1 minute for you each.
Well, the former president had said that climate change is a hoax. And what we know is that it is very real. You ask anyone who lives in a state who has experienced these extreme weather occurrences, who now is either being denied home insurance or it's being jacked up. You ask anybody who has been the victim of what that means in terms of losing their home, having nowhere to go. We know that we can actually deal with this issue. The young people of America care deeply about this issue. And I am
Insurance
proud
is a
that
scam.
as
I
vice
agree,
president over
Dan,
the
dude.
last 4 years, we have invested $1 trillion in a clean energy economy, while we have also increased domestic gas production to historic levels.
I don't want to
We have
hear
created
shit
over 800,000
about climate
new
change in the United
manufacturing
States
jobs.
until we
While I
crack
have
down
been
on the
vice
other countries who
president,
pollute
we have
far fucking
invested
more.
in clean energy to the point that we are opening up factories around the world. Donald Trump said he was going to create manufacturing jobs. He lost manufacturing jobs. And I'm also proud to have the endorsement of the United Auto Workers and Sean Fain, who also know that part of building a clean energy economy includes investing in American-made products, American automobiles. It includes growing what we can do around American manufacturing and opening up auto plants, not closing them like happened under Donald Trump.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
That didn't happen under
What?
Donald
He
Trump.
didn't-
Let me
what
just
did-
tell you,
what?
they lost 10,000 manufacturing jobs this last month. It's going, they're all leaving. They're building big auto plants in Mexico. In
Oh, we
many
had way
cases
more
owned
manufacturing
by
coming
China.
back to the US
They're
under
building
Trump. What is she
these
talking
massive
about?
plants, and they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States because of these people. What they have given to China is unbelievable. But we're not going to let that. We'll put tariffs on those cars so they can't come into our country, because they will kill the United Auto Workers and any auto worker, whether it's in Detroit or South Carolina or any other place. What they've done to business and manufacturing in this country is horrible. We have nothing because they refuse. You know, Biden doesn't go after people because supposedly China paid him millions of dollars. He's afraid to do it. Between him and his son, They get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different countries. And then you wonder, why is he so loyal to this one, that one, Ukraine, China?
You don't really have to wonder
Why
if
did
you're
he get
paying attention.
$3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife? Why did she
Have
pay
a good
him
night, Pit
$3.5 million? This is a crooked administration, and they're selling our country down the tubes.
President Trump,
They got money from Ukraine. Yeah, that was
We'll be
the
right
pay
back
for play with
closing
Hunter
statements
Biden.
from both of our candidates. An historic night, this ABC News presidential debate from Philadelphia. Back in a moment.
Oh, another commercial break. I have another article that was linked to me. Hold on. Hold on a second. I know. She has a tab, chat. Let me move up my browser again. This doesn't seem like the right thing, but I mean, maybe it is. It is. Okay, good. Here we go. Secret Taliban peace talks at Camp David floated, scrapped within a week, U.S. officials say. National Security Advisor John Bolton vehemently opposed the idea, but the State Department argued it could move the parties closer to an agreement. This was in 2019. President Donald Trump's decision to hold a meeting in Washington with Taliban leaders and Afghanistan President Ashraf Ghani to try to solidify a peace deal to end the 18-year-long war was first discussed about a week ago, according to U.S. officials and others briefed on the discussion. The idea raised September 1st during a Situation Room meeting with the president was vehemently opposed by National Security Advisor John Bolton, even as officials at the State Department argued it could move the parties closer to an agreement, officials said. Bolton had an ally in Vice President Mike Pence, who also made the case against a meeting at Camp David, a location Trump suggested, officials said. Bolton and Pence were in Warsaw together around the time of the internal discussions. Using the presidential retreat in Maryland to host the meeting was floated by Trump after he warmed to the idea of a sit-down in Washington, the officials and people familiar with the matter said. This is doing a lot of lifting here. Just people familiar with the matter said. I've said that a lot already. Bolton's office declined to comment. Pence's office and a spokesperson for the president did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Among the concerns of administration officials who opposed the meeting was that it might take place around the anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. The officials and people familiar with the matter said. Pence argued at one point that such a meeting could send the wrong message to members of the U.S. military who have fought and been killed by the Taliban for years, one senior administration official said. That's not exactly our fault, though, right? Like, George Bush lied about the weapons of mass destruction. We went in and started a war we had no business ever being in. And now trying to end it, I don't know. I don't know if trying to end it would send the wrong message, honestly. To be fair, the people who've been killed by the war probably don't care. There was also concern among some U.S. officials that Ghani would not show up for such a meeting, and they argued it was better for the president to cancel first than to be stood up. The officials and people familiar with the matter said. There has been broad skepticism within the national security team, even among those supporting the deal, that it would hold even if finalized. The view was that the Taliban couldn't be trusted to live up to its commitments, and that a deal would very quickly collapse once the Afghan government was brought into the talks. One concern among some administration officials was that elevating the negotiations to a meeting with the president at Camp David might later embarrass Trump if a deal fell apart. So Trump wasn't worried about being embarrassed, but everybody around him was worried about him being embarrassed. I have to ask, why were they worried about Trump being embarrassed if the Taliban leader happened to stand him up in a peace talk? But they weren't worried about the amount of embarrassment implementing Joe Biden with a mental decline and dementia as a president would bring on the entire administration. I feel like this is just warmongers who didn't want to broker peace and were trying to throw anything at the wall to make it stick in order to stop this from happening. But regardless of this, like this doesn't seem like a bad thing, and it seems like a weird thing to try and attack Trump for. The thing that I was more confused about was when they brought up that Trump released 5,000 Taliban terrorists or whatever earlier in the debate. I'm glad I have this information, so whoever linked this to my mods, thank you. We got some info. But where did the 5,000 released Taliban terrorists come from? Neocons love raging war, true and real. Why such a late stream? Tonight is the American presidential debates, so that's what we're watching. Cabbage, thank you for the 10. Kamala was Attorney General of California, and California keeps extending Diablo Canyon Because California cannot function without the nuclear plant the California government wants to shut down. Interesting. Interesting. When's the debates? We're about halfway through them, I think. We're maybe more than halfway, because we are on the second commercial break, and I think they said that there would only be 2. It was made up. I mean, she's made up a bunch of shit tonight, so I could see that being true. I could see it being just, it came to me in a dream, as it were.
Has come for closing statements, and Vice President Harris.
Oh yeah, we're almost done then if they're at closing.
So I think you've heard tonight 2 very different visions for our country.
Yeah.
One that is
the
focused
one for
on the
citizens
future,
and the one for Marxists.
and the other that is focused on the past, and an attempt to take us backward. But we're not going back. And I do believe that the American people know we all have so much more in common than what separates us. And we can chart a new way forward. And a vision of that includes
I do like how she says a new way forward, because she's not wrong. Marxism would be a new way forward in the U.S.
The hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why I intend to create an opportunity economy, investing in small businesses, in new families, in what we can do around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking folks a break and bringing down the cost of living.
I also feel like this is the third time she said this exact same thing.
That is about sustaining America's standing in the world and ensuring that we have the respect that we so rightly deserve, including respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I will be a president that will protect our fundamental rights and freedoms, including the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. I'll tell you, I started my career as a prosecutor. I was a DA, I was an attorney general, a United States senator, and now vice president. I've only had one client, the people. And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump?
I guess this is the best you can do when you fuck your way to the top, eh?
She's going to do that. She's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it, and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack. We're not going to take fossil fuel. We're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughed. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
President Trump, thank you. And that is our ABC News presidential debate from here in Philadelphia at the National Constitution Center. I'm Lindsay Davis.
And I'm David Muir. Thank you for watching here in the U.S. and all over
I
the
feel
world.
like that
and
was
from
less
all
a
of us here at
debate
ABC
and
News.
more like let's assist Kamala in looking better to the American people.
And we are here live on ABC with
Forget the feed and feed. Kamala's sucking fuck, dude.
It was a lively debate from the economy to abortion to Afghanistan. They had it all, and it was historic, John Carl, fiery.
Wow. Wow. That was quite a debate.
Wow.
I'm Jonathan Carl here with, of course, Mary Bruce and Rachel Scott. Our reporters across the news division have been updating our live blog, looking at some of the allegations made back and forth, doing fact checks. You can find all of that on abcnews.com. But I would like to replay the moment at the very start of this debate because it was quite a moment. The handshake. And if you look,
Harris. Let's have a good debate.
See, have fun.
Thank you.
I mean, quite a moment, first of all, because we hadn't seen a handshake. We hadn't seen a handshake in a long time.
She initiated that one.
And
Yeah, she did.
I mean, not only did she initiate it, she walked over to him and sought him out, put the hands out, and also made the first word.
Oh my God, they're sucking her up so hard.
His hand out either.
Interesting. So more at the bottom line, what did you think?
I think clearly what Kamala Harris wanted to do was be the candidate of hope, the candidate of the future. Donald Trump seemed angry within 4 minutes. I think we saw him going
is
from,
exactly what I said. They wanted to paint him as like unhinged and angry.
Really seemed to look at her to just angry. I mean, really yelling at some points, trying to make his points. I don't think we heard a lot of
she did a handshake
on either side of
much
that,
presidential,
despite those
such
questions
demure
over and over again. But what you had was that optic. You had Kamala Harris looking over, baiting him again and again and again. The microphones were muted when they weren't speaking, but many times she didn't need a microphone. You watch Donald Trump get mad, scowl through things. And
I would get mad too if somebody was repeating the same lies I've had to deal with for fucking 6-7 years, dude.
I think he had a plan for talking about what he saw as a next term, but then he was talking about rumors about people eating their neighbors' pets.
That's not rumors. There's literally news articles.
Kamala Harris didn't really explain some of the big questions that were out there about why she changed her policy views on so many things. Part of the reason is Donald Trump really was not effective in bringing the debate to her. I agree with you. I think that he looked not just angry, but also rattled.
Remember when the news media had that whole thing where they were just like,
Harris,
we tell you what to think.
Harris looked like she belonged on the stage, looked like she...
What the fuck does that even mean?
...is somebody that could serve as president.
And that is certainly how the campaign is feeling tonight. I can tell you, the Harris campaign feels very good. They feel they had a very strong night, that she was in command, that she did look presidential, and that she was able, they feel, to hold Donald Trump accountable for his actions. And of course, that was their goal going into this.
Did we watch the same fucking debate?
Under a microscope. And they feel that the strongest example of that was that exchange on abortion, where she was able really to blame Donald Trump directly to his face. I mean, she said, what you are putting women through is unconscionable. Yes, she goaded him. She flat out trolled him many times, got him off message, but she also talked directly to voters, even inviting them to a Trump rally to underscore that central argument in her campaign that she says
they're
he's only
high
out
on
for
so
himself,
much copium. Even someone who's done whippets for 20 years doesn't have as much of a rotted brain.
Be seizing on the fact
she trolled
that Vice
by
President
lying.
Kamala Harris did not
Epic
do a
meme.
Great job today, really explaining her policy shifts, right? And that is what they have been seizing on. They're really trying to define her for voters when voters have a lot of questions about her policy positions. At the same time, though, almost every single thing that Vice President Kamala Harris said tonight got under Trump's skin. And that is exactly what his allies and his advisors did not want to see. I could tell you, I do not think that part of Donald Trump's debate prep was people eating dogs in Springfield or comparing rally sizes. They wanted him to stay focused on the issues, especially the ones that he has an edge on.
To be fair to him, she was the one who brought up people leaving his rallies. He shouldn't have been the bait. I don't think it was important to devote time to.
I have with us right now,
but
Governor
it's just
Tim
like,
Walz, of course, the
in between her
Democratic
lies,
vice
she's just
presidential
making little
candidate.
personal nudges
welcome,
here.
Governor Walz. How are you feeling? What's your reaction to the debate tonight?
Martha, I'm feeling great because what
This
I knew,
man
and I
doesn't
think so
look
many
real.
knew, and now many
I'm having a
Americans
destiny
know, is
moment.
You saw a president for all America in Kamala Harris.
Oh,
You
this is
saw
Tim
the
Waltz. What the
confidence, you
fuck?
saw
Why
the
does he look
vision,
so
You saw
unreal?
the poise, and you saw the compassion for people, understanding she spoke about an economy that moves us forward, moves
At least
all
he's
of us
blinking,
forward,
unlike
lets
the
everybody
Linus
be a
Tech
part
Tips
of it.
guy.
And she continued to lay that out, whether it's reproductive freedom or how we start small businesses or making home ownership easier. And on the other side, you saw a nearly 80-year-old Donald Trump, angry, unhinged, and as you've been discussing, talking about things that are deeply concerning
him
because
old
they make
after having
no impact
Biden.
on the American public. He shouldn't be anywhere near the White House. And I have to tell you, if it weren't so dangerous, it reminds you of an old man yelling at the clouds. That was his thing. Get off my yard. That's what he did.
No, that's not what it reminded me of, actually.
Harris laying out the question for everything that matters. And so I think the whole country can see what happened tonight. We'll keep pushing forward. That's the way that the country wants to see our politics be. She laid it
Is
out clearly.
his background
Donald
fake?
Trump brought
I don't
nothing
know,
tonight.
man.
Anger, resentment.
Governor Waltz, I do want to ask you, she did not answer questions on abortion restrictions. She never really answered that question. Can you clear that up, where the Harris-Waltz ticket stands on that?
Certainly, and you couldn't get any different than this. The reinstitution of Roe versus Wade, what was the law of the land for 52 years. You saw this in there, and him pushing back to the states. She's exactly right. It's people like Amanda.
Why
in
do
Texas,
you
which
not
everybody
want
saw
the
on stage in
states to
Chicago,
be able to decide on this?
bleeding
Why do you
out,
want the
having
federal
sepsis
government
twice because she
to
can't
order
get the
exactly
care.
what's going on with this?
She's been absolutely clear on this. Everything Donald Trump said, that is untrue. The clarity of this is Roe. When you have Roe, you have the protections in place where women make their own decisions with their health care providers, not Donald Trump.
Okay, thanks so very much for joining us, Governor Waltz. John?
And we have the other side of the ticket. We have Senator J.D. Vance, Donald Trump's running mate, joining us now. Senator Vance, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Sean. I appreciate it.
So I want to get to one part in the debate where you came up. Donald Trump was asked if he would veto a national abortion ban. He didn't answer the question, suggested, I guess, that he wouldn't. And then it was pointed out that you, in fact, said not that long ago that he would veto a national abortion ban. Can you explain the mix-up here?
Well, I think the president's been very clear that he doesn't want a national abortion ban. I think in some ways he finds the question a little bit ridiculous because why are we asking him about legislation that's never going to actually happen and why he would veto it or not veto it when he says very explicitly that he doesn't support a national abortion ban.
I could agree with this, but it's still just like they posed the hypothetical. It would look better if you just answered it. Right, like I think he gave the best answer that he could, but it would look better if he had just been like, no, of course not. But it's not even a question because it's not going to happen.
The American people can't pay their grocery bills on platitudes. They can't put their kids in a house on platitudes. And Kamala Harris had a lot to say, but very little actual substance.
Why didn't Trump say this?
This
is what Trump said, which is why I reiterated what I said when Trump said it.
More affordable in this country. She's been the vice president for 3.5 years. She can't run on her record, and she apparently can't run on much of her plans either because it's just a lot of slogans and not a whole lot of substance.
You just want to pinch his cheeks.
But Senator Vance, why won't he just say that he would veto the national abortion ban? And by the way,
that was my question.
Had you spoken to him about it before you were put in a position to answer that question?
No, I hadn't spoken to him about it because, again, Donald Trump thinks the question is absurd because he doesn't support a national abortion ban, and he's been explicit about it. And, John, I think that it's so preposterous for the media to focus so much on an issue where Donald Trump has been crystal clear and not on the fact that people can't afford groceries and housing because of Kamala Harris's
considering
policies.
half of the debate was Kamala just blatantly lying or repeating talking points that have been debunked.
The media would like to
That's kind of par for the course.
On issues, by the way, that Donald Trump's been crystal clear about, but they're not talking nearly enough. This debate didn't talk nearly enough about the fact that Americans are struggling because they can't afford groceries, they can't afford housing, and a lot of their kids are dying of fentanyl overdoses because Kamala Harris has let the Mexican drug cartels take over the southern border. This is a disgrace what's going on in our country, John, and we could do so much better if we just had better leadership. We've got the best workers, the most beautiful country, the best natural resources, but Kamala Harris's leadership is squandering the great benefits of this country. It's why we've got to get back to Donald Trump's leadership.
Senator, by the way, I asked because he hadn't been crystal clear and he said something different than what you said. That's why I was seeking clarification. But let me ask you about this. Just very quickly. I heard Donald Trump before this debate describe Kamala Harris as, I'll just read a few of them, a low IQ individual, somebody who doesn't have the mental capacity to be president, really dumb, unable to put two sentences together. Is that what you saw on the stage tonight?
John, what I saw was a lot of slogans. I think the American people are smart, and Kamala Harris talks to them like they're children.
Correct.
She repeats these ridiculous platitudes where if you actually think about what she said, you realize that it doesn't make any sense. She talks a lot about her plans, but then her plans, when you analyze the substance, don't make any sense.
This is part of what Marxism is as well. You want to promise, you want to overpromise, you want to use nice flowery language to hide what you're actually doing.
What she can't do, refuses to do, and has no ability to do is to say, I accomplished lower prices because she didn't, or I accomplished lower housing prices because she didn't, or I secured the southern border because she didn't do that. She has failed as vice president, and the fundamental question is, do we want to give her a promotion? I think the answer has to be no, John.
All right, Senator Vance, thank you for joining us.
Walt's got a pat on the back. Vance is grilled over here.
Consequential night in this race. More reaction when we come back. Stay with us.
Man, that was fucked. Shut it down. Blowtorch, man. Trump said he would build a wall and make the Mexicans pay for it. Did he? I don't think a wall is a good idea. I think if you actually want to tackle immigration and you actually want to fix illegal immigration, you do mass deportations. The amount of money you spend on mass deportations is going to be completely eclipsed by the money you would have to spend by keeping the illegals here. It's going to be a large amount of money, but it is going to be better than building a wall. I understand the symbology of a wall, but it's not going to work. Election night stream? Yeah. Stop giving them money when they come here? Exactly. The entire debate is breaking your souls? Yeah, it's fucking, dude. I dig a moat and load it with crocodiles. You also have to get rid of the underground tunnels. A wall is cheap, but not as cheap as... Oh my god. ABC just letting Waltz have his AI ass say mindless shit, but when Vance time, they got a debate. I really didn't like how the moderators would parry Trump when they believed that he was saying things that were incorrect, even when he wasn't saying things that were incorrect. But they didn't push back on Kamala basically at all. It was a very weird thing to be happening. Keep hearing talk about what a bad pick Vance was, and every time you see him speak, the assertion makes less and less sense. He smokes every event he does. It's probably the same Republicans that hate Trump that are hating on Vance, honestly. She lied about damn near everything and didn't get called on anything, unfortunately. I think the problem with the deportations is it is ultimately temporary, not to say a wall is permanent either, but it certainly gives us more time to prepare, so to speak. I don't think the deportations is ultimately temporary, right? If we say we're going to round up all of the illegals and deport them back to their home countries, we're going to stop giving them free housing, we're going to stop giving them free healthcare, we're going to stop giving them handouts of cash, we're going to stop letting them steal social security numbers and get jobs. Like, if we actually crack down on all of that, that would be much fucking better than a wall. They just come back, and then we just send them back again. Anthony, thank you for the 10. That was physically painful to watch. Thanks for making it so you didn't have to off yourself while watching it. Yeah, that was... I mean, it was more exciting, I guess, than the Biden debate. Because there was more coherent speech. It was just unfortunate that the coherent speech on Kamala's side was mostly talking points that have been debunked years ago or flat-out lies. We still need the wall. We just also need to do all the other shit. I just don't know if the cost of the wall is going to be worth it. The wall in Egypt bordering Palestine and the wall in Poland bordering Belarus work pretty damn well. I mean, yeah, there are walls that work, but when you look at the size of those countries in comparison to the size of our border, and especially when you take into account that a lot of people who do come here illegally come by boat and not by where we can build a wall, the wall makes less and less sense, in my opinion. There's only $5 billion. Only $5 billion. Build a wall of bullets. Walls don't matter when you have people keeping open the door. Yeah, the first order of business needs to be closing that door. Doran Lucian, my guy, thank you for the $100 doodles. We're gonna build a wall, and we're gonna have Doran Lucian pay for it. Oh my god, you're building a wall around the chat? We're gonna be a walled city? Thank you! Thank you for the thick fucking hundy, my dude. Thank you. Walls are not needed. Just tell people who own properties on the southern borders that they're allowed to shoot illegals. That's a bit glowy. That's a bit glowy, my guy. Warwolf, they give the 500. Close the border. Mobilize the Marine Corps reserves to the border with standing orders to shoot anyone on site coming over the border that isn't a checkpoint. People are going to get the message real fucking quick. I mean, I don't know, right? Like, if you authorize people on the border, right, like Marine Corps, if you authorize them to shoot anyone who comes across the border, I feel like that will have a lot of negative repercussion. Why don't we do what Israel does and have drone ATVs mounted machine guns on the border? Do they do that? Do they just shoot people who try to come in? I wouldn't know. You wanted to say trespassers, not illegals, but the result is the same. I asked the other day if people are still allowed to put, like, trespassers shot on sight on their properties. Is that still legal to put on your house in current year? Bella Cracks, thank you for the 10. Should we watch the Nixon versus Kennedy debate to remind us of a time when candidates could answer questions coherently and sharply, and when we used to be a country? I mean, maybe we'll fucking need to. I was really frustrated with how Trump tangented. Like, I understand at a couple of points why he did so, but it's still just like, come on, dude. Come on, dude. Just answer the questions. Fondue, thank you for the 2. What about stopping taking asylum at the border? I mean, yeah, that's pretty much what I said. Questionable content, thank you for the 5. Trump left way too much on the table. No mention of unrealized capital gains, price controls, etc. He had a good opportunity to smoke her, and he missed it. I think he got in a couple of good shots, but yeah, I agree with you. He focused way too much on having to debunk things that have already been proven wrong as talking points for the Democratic Party. Like, the very fine people is apparently still being fucking talked about by them for some reason. No mention of what her policies did to California. Also true. Also true. Anthony, thank you for the 5. That's why you also put 50s on top of said walls. You gotta have more deterrence, as it were. The Legend 27, thank you for the 10. The wall isn't supposed to stop the flow, it's to delay them enough for Border Patrol to be able to respond. I still don't know if that's going to work as efficiently as we can imagine in our minds. I could be wrong, I'm not a wall expert, you know? Deranged Hermit, they give the 10. The wall in China worked pretty well until it didn't. I don't think we're allowed to build a wall out of the bodies of our enemies in current year. Alright, like, the Great Wall of China is stuffed with a lot of corpses, as it were. Adam Kraken, thank you for the 499 pounds. Hello, Funny Fox Woman, questioning from across the pond. What's up with Trump's motor industry argument? Since when did China make cars? I don't think he said that China made cars. He was talking about chips. How manufacturing of chips was, like, hugely outsourced. If you remember, getting GPUs was really fucking hard for a period of time. They do make cars. And China does make cars. They make a lot of electric vehicles. I don't know almost anything about car manufacturing. I'm gonna be real with you. I remember his chip argument. If he talked about cars, I don't remember it at this point. Most chips are manufactured in Taiwan. Yeah. China does have a burgeoning domestic auto industry. The Great Wall of China is a national monument. It is a national monument, but we can't make a new wall with new bodies. Over 90% of the high-end chips are made in Taiwan for the world. 80% of computer chips come out of Taiwan, and the other 20% from China itself. Yep. Just bringing vermin supreme. I don't know about that. You know, like, funny political candidates are funny and all, but I feel like they split votes in a way that is detrimental. Like, the people who vote for the silly candidate because he's silly could have actually, I don't know, done something for an actual candidate. Yukon Hunter, they give the 20. Well done with the debate. Trump did well, despite the 3-on-1 that said get some ammo, get your training in. Your faith is low on this is all. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have much faith in normies, as it were. Senator Satan, thank you for the 5. Imagine if instead of creating a human meat grinder, we use that money to build a wall and better fund the Coast Guard. Yeah, my stance on, like, foreign wars, like, I understand you have to keep up appearances, you have to help allies on occasion, But I feel like we spend way too much time and money and investment in other countries and other citizens instead of our own. I know America as a country, it's unrealistic. We cannot go full isolationist like Japan did. But I would like to see us close up our funding, close up what we send to other people, even just a little bit, right? Like, Trump pushing back on NATO and being like, you guys need to pay for your own fucking security shit. That was huge. That was a wonderful thing to see. Him just being like, America's not going to pick up your fucking tabs anymore. You're going to pay your fair share. Udafict, thank you for the 5 members. Thank you. 5 gift members. Thank you, my guy. Von Cobra, Night Herald, thank you for the 20. Wall is way cheap compared to deporting and means over time we'll have to do less deporting. Wall saves a ton of money over time. I mean, it might. It might. I just, like... The wall isn't going to do anything for the millions of illegals we have in the country already. The deportations are something that need to happen, in my opinion. And it's like, they're gonna pull all of the, like... but we're dreamers, but, you know, we came over here and we had kids here, that's all they know, and it's like, I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care. Not my citizens, not my problem. You came here illegally, get out. Kirsche too afraid of hitting the wall herself. I don't know about that. I don't really believe in incel ideology. And Sergeant Buck, thank you for the 5. When Harris said he sold chips to China, you thought she meant potato chips, and you were very confused. I was confused at first, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's right. We had that fucking computer chip issue. It kicked in my memory brain. Scum Evil, thank you for the 3 months of prune, my guy. Thanks for making the debate bearable. Yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. I love hanging out during debates, dude. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. You don't care about dreamers or their kids. Squatting in a house for generations does not make it yours. True. True and real. Oh god, my YouTube chat is about to giga fucking scroll into reality here. Oh no. Oh no, it giga scrolled so hard it froze. What is we used the cocaine concrete to solve some money on materials? What the fuck? What are you talking about? F. You wanna legally... Oh, did I F? Did the stream die? Is the stream actually dying? Did YouTube chat scroll so hard it killed the Twitch stream? Stream's fine. Okay. No, F the chat. You guys got me scared. I've been having a lot of F issues. Alright, okay? Alright, okay. Shadow Cyber Demon, they give it the 369. It annoys you to no end that nuclear wasn't brought up when the green clean energy subject came up. True. True. It was really weird he didn't rebuttal with that. Sparky's Tech Corner, thank you for the 5. You're voting Trump to trigger destiny. Also, the auto industry depends on China and Taiwan on chips for ECUs. That's what stifled the auto industry. Ah. See, I guess that makes sense that the new cars also need computer chips. I just think of them... The way it affected me was, oh fuck, I can't get my GPU. And then I guess when I did buy a car prices were incredibly inflated. I hadn't bought a car in my life before, so this is my first time purchasing a vehicle last year. And I had always like been told growing up that you never buy a new vehicle, you always want to buy used, because used vehicles are typically a better price point, and new vehicles start depreciating value as soon as you drive them off the lot. But because of all of the chip issues, and I guess maybe there was other manufacturing issues possibly that were adding to this, but used vehicles were basically the same price as new vehicles. So I was like, why the fuck would I buy a used vehicle with tens of thousands of miles on it when I can just buy a new one that's like $3,000 more, right? Like it just didn't make any sense to me. Because of the chip shortage, the prices of used vehicles went up so much that you might as well get new. Yeah, that's basically what it was like. Nothing steals your information more than a car nowadays. Yeah. They got all the trackers on you, which can be helpful, right? If you get into an accident, trackers can send out the little bleep bleeps and get you help faster, which can be good. $20,000 is almost the same as $50,000. What the heck? You had a 2016 used that sold for barely less than a new 2024. Yeah, it's absolutely absurd. Your old Corolla lasted 15 years. I hope my vehicle lasts a decent amount of time. I hope so. 3,000, a pittance. I'm not saying 3,000 isn't a lot of money, right? But when 3,000 is the difference between like a 7-year-old vehicle that has 106,000 miles and a brand new vehicle in current year that has like less than 1,000. That $3,000 you have to fork out seems like, well, yeah, why wouldn't I pay that much extra, you know? It does depend on the vehicle, though. You got lucky and got a 2018 with less than 50,000 miles on it used. That's good. That's good. Got a 2012 Ford Fusion with 20k miles a few years ago for 9k. My god, that's cheap as fuck. You got a fucking huge deal, dude. And it was like 13,000 for a vehicle with 70k miles. Yeah, I wish the used vehicle market wasn't as inflated as it was. Old Corolla died because a retard crashed into you and fucked it up so much it would be more expensive head-on collision. I drove a 2002, I think it was. Yeah, 2002 Malibu for a real fucking long time. That thing was like a tank. But towards the end of its lifespan, I was spending like $2,000 for transmission and shit. I was having the brakes fixed like every couple of months. It was getting to be way more expensive on maintenance than just buying a new car. Like, it was bad. It was real bad. Debates used to allow actual people to ask questions, too. We need independent media to force their hands and get a truly moderated presidential debate going. I would actually really like to see that. I would like to see a presidential debate with, like, independent media as moderators instead of legacy media as moderators. I don't know who you would have, right? Because, like, obviously everyone has a bias that they might want to push. But I would like to see if an independent media would do better than legacy media at this point. Because we know who legacy media is propping up. We know who they want to win. We know who they're pushing propaganda for. Right? So it's just like, we're not going to get a fair shake with any of the legacy media moderators. And again, I am incredibly surprised that the moderators this time were more biased than the CNN ones last time. I would have expected more bias from CNN. Maybe it was just the point that, like, all of them wanted Biden to fail at that point. They were just trying to get him out, and so they just didn't care to push in his defense. I don't know, man. VTubers should moderate. Okay, I don't know about that. I don't know about going that far, all right? FT Sanso, thank you for the 13-month resub, my dude. Thank you. Christian Gonzalez, thank you for the $4.99. Have I heard of the barbed wire incident in Texas that almost started a civil war? I can't think of it off the top of my head, no. I apologize. My brain memories don't always work the best, you know? ABC, always be communist. True. Pippa just asked questions about CIA plots. Maybe we should. You agree? VTubers should moderate. I don't know, man. The Hylian Juggler, thank you for the 5. But Foxy, why can't we build walls out of people? If Trump says good fences make good neighbors, Vlad taught me that bad neighbors make good fences. Look, just because the Marxists want to usher us into a dystopian time period doesn't mean we can start using people's skulls as lawn decorations again. All right, okay? Have Bao ask questions about inflation. I feel like that's the wrong kind of inflation. Jim Farm, they give the $49.99. I think if we implement tariffs, increases on countries where we have illegal aliens and increase it with illegal aliens happening more times. I think if we implement tariffs, increases on countries where we have illegal aliens and increase it with illegal aliens happening more times. I'm going to try and translate this. I think you're trying to say that the countries where we have a high propensity of people coming to our country illegally, we impose tariffs on them, and then the more illegal aliens that come from those countries, the more we increase the tariffs. What the fuck are we gonna tariff Venezuela for? What do they have that we could possibly tariff them on? What is the powerful truth, Kirsche? You can't handle the truth. Spider God 99, thank you for the gift sub. I couldn't read the name, but thank you for the gift sub. Oil? Does Venezuela have oil? I'm surprised we've let them live this long. You can turn alerts back on. Can I? Biden took a bunch of their oil. I was not aware Venezuela had oil. Not paying that much attention, clearly. Let me turn my background music back on at least. No Name, thank you for the 7-month member. Thank you. Alerts are still off. They are. They are. Use your Hearts of Iron 4 brain. Venezuela has like 100 units of oil. I haven't played Hearts of Iron. I've only played Civ. Civ 5 specifically is my favorite Civ. The Narion loses their oil and use that to usher in commies? I don't know what that means. Venezuela and its people cry out for democracy, Kirsche. Oh my god. Evil Zombie Toe, thank you for the $9.99. You've been on the Texas border mission for 2 years. We use pepper balls, and anytime a live round is used in self-defense, it's a huge deal, but it has happened. True Neptune CPU, thank you for the sub on Twitch, dude. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Yukon Hunter, thank you again for the 20. Kaiser, thank you for the sub on Twitch. C Wits, thank you for the 2. Do I play BlazBlue or is it just the title? I did ages ago. I haven't played it in recent years. But I really enjoyed playing it when I was younger. Used to play it with friends when we would hang out. Gotta take a break from my streams this week? What the heck? They're not all debate streams! Colombia as a stand-in. Use them to stop Venezuelans at the border. Synapse, thank you for the 5R. Venezuela has the most oil in the world of any country by a lot, but they commied their way into sucking at producing it. Maybe that's why I didn't know they had fucking oil. That's crazy if they actually have, like, the most oil. Why haven't we taken them over? I thought America was supposed to invade anyone that had large amounts of oil. Why haven't we just gone in and cleaned house? That's kind of funny. We're not living up to the stereotype, man. We're not living up to the stereotype. It's just a mental break from my stream. That's weird you feel the need to tell me that. They'll claim we already have. Well, clearly we haven't if they're still a communist country. Caleb Collins, thank you for the $1.99. Would I ever do a cover of Pippa the Ripper? I can't sing, so probably not. Maybe at gunpoint, you know? Like, if she had a gun to my head, I'd probably have to. Karis Greywind, thank you for the £2. Just you, or did Trump fight for his responses? I mean, sometimes he did, but he also got tangenting a little bit at the time. Kind of a... I wish he would have answered more of the questions, honestly. Do I think the debate will hurt Trump much? I think they're going to propagandize it pretty fucking hard. But I don't think it's going to really do that much damage. Citgo was owned by Venezuela. What the... Really? I'm learning so much about the gas industry. I'm learning so much about gas stations with giant cats on them. They have a ton of oil, but it's low in purity. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. You thought Citgo was Cuba? I have no idea. DACA, Fauna Mart intern, thank you for the 5. Venezuela was the test bed for Dominion voting machines. Help! And thus have been mired in communism. And they used to be quite prosperous not that long ago. I'm gonna be real, I thought Venezuela was communist for a very long time. Oh, cheeseball, I'm sorry, I just hit you with my foot. I didn't know you were sleeping there. A fucking Joshua K. Tanpa sliding in with the 50 gift subs. What the fuck? What the hell? Thank you. That's fucking huge. Fucking massive. Absolutely fucking massive. Cat abuse. Look, I'm not eating him. I just kind of thwapped him with my foot. Basically commie since the 60s. Jesus Christ. That's what I thought, right? That's what I thought. Venezuela's just been fucking commie for ages. That's massive. That's what she said. It is massive. Joshua just slapped massive meat in the YouTube chat. He can't help it. Venezuela was very much like modern Mexico until they started eating the rich, and that's all they wrote. Story as old as time. Senator Satan, thank you again for the 5. Dr. Faust MD, thank you for the 5. Mr. Trump, why are you Hitler, and why do you hate women and minorities? Vice President Harris, why are you so wonderful and beautiful in the next coming of Christ? Yeah, they had some really... The questions were not fair, I would say. They were stacked. They were stacked a little bit. Jason Cole, thank you for the 5 gift members. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for 5 gift members, you beautiful little baby. Thanks, Jersh person that I can't mention directly. What the heck? Lots of people calling out the moderators on Twitter. Good. Good. I'm glad they're calling them out. Adam Kraken, thank you for the 653. Hello, Funny Fox Woman, questioning from across the pond. I remember reading this one. By the car comment. Thank you again. Deranged Hermit, thank you for the 10. The wall in China worked pretty well until it didn't. Also true. Also true. No one in particular, thank you for the 221. Look up Operation I Can't Say That Word. Massive deportations. I don't think that's a real operation since it uses a slur. Anthony, thank you for the 5. That's why you also put 50s on top of said walls. Yeah. Just a little danger at the top of the wall. It is? There's no way. It's actually a real one. There's no way. It was under Eisenhower. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. Wet foot, dry foot. No, I think the last time this was mentioned, I brought up wet foot, dry foot, and people were like, no, that's something different. That's something different. That's 100% that's where it came from. That's crazy. That's crazy. Unfortunately, that's where the slur came from. No way! I'm learning so many things tonight, chat. Keystrix, thank you for the $1. People tell you walls don't work because China's eventually fell amidst war, but you ask in return, if a tornado blew apart your house, does that mean your house never worked? Anyway, we should worry about any walls later, as the invaders are already here. That's basically what I was saying. Like, the wall at this point, I think is a thing we shouldn't focus on. We should focus on getting out the invaders that are already here. Silly Gordo! Thank you for the 5. Venezuela was sending crude oil to Texas to have it refined because it was one of the few places they could refine their oil because of how impure their oil was. Then communism came knocking and we closed them off of our refineries so they can't sell it. And just go in and take it. Isn't that the meme? Aren't we supposed to do that? Isn't that what we're known for? Why have we let them keep their oil in their little commie shithole? It's hard to believe that inspired Black Panther 2, but here we are. Wesk, thank you for the gift, Mamba. Thank you. Bo Cure, thank you for the $4.99. Thanks for making the bearable. Good night. Thank you for hanging out. I really enjoy hanging out watching debates with people, so it makes me super happy that I have so many of you who want to watch it with me. Take the oil and the fine Venezuelan asses. True. They haven't committed atrocities on the level of Saddam, Uday, and Qusay Hassan. Do they need to commit atrocities, before we go in and take their oil? And questionable content, thank you for the 5. Trump left way too much on the table. I read that already. I remember. I agreed. Thank you. Fondue, thank you for the 2. What about stopping taking asylum at the border? That is pretty much what I said. I agree. No. Avalanche Graham, thank you for the gift sub to shh. Thank you. Sarcastic Sophist, thank you for the 5. As someone from Minnesota, you apologize for your governor. And know that pretty much none of us like him. You blame the Twin Cities that he got elected again. I'm sorry that your state is in such dire straits, dude. I can't remember the last time I heard something good happening in Minnesota. Jim Farm, thank you for the $9.99. Sorry, I was trying to listen to you while writing. It was close to what you're trying to say, but increase the traffic when we find illegal aliens that are repeat offenders. That could make sense. I don't know enough about, like, the balancing act you have to do with tariffs in order to not cause, like, a bunch of damage. I know that when Trump implemented tariffs when he was in office, we had a better economy than we do now. So maybe I'm just not smart enough to understand it. But when people are just like, if Trump imposes tariffs, then everything will be more expensive. But it's just like, if that didn't happen last time, why would that happen this time? Like, maybe it could. Maybe if he imposes something too high of a tariff, it could. But it's just like, it didn't happen before. Just like they want to say he's going to become a dictator now. That didn't happen before. Too bad Minnesota went from a prairie home companion setting to this. True. Nocturnal 007, thank you for the 2. ABC, Trump said you hate Ukraine. Kirsche, reply. Jesus Christ. Stephen Tonch, thank you for the 5. Appreciate watching the debate with chat. It made it a lot more bearable. Good night. Have a good night, Stephen, my dude. Have a good night. And the stuff we tariff is mostly luxury goods. We make most of our own food and housing. Depends. American steel got fucked because but to be honest, it always had problems. I can't parse your sentence. I know Chinese steel is weak and terrible. If you've watched Empire of Dust, it goes through a lot of the reasons why Chinese steel is terrible. Help. Is stream elements off? I have my alerts off at the moment, yes. Anthony, thank you for the 5. Time to drink your gamer subs AFK that you got with code Kirsche and go to bed. My artwork has finished up. I'm very excited. Hopefully I'll be able to announce something to you guys soon. But until then, you can still get free shipping with code Kirsche at GamerSupps. Use code Kirsche for free shipping until September 13th at 2 p.m. Eastern. And then that code goes right back to 10% off. And no one in particular, thank you for the €2. Look up Joseph Wang about tariffs. Very smart man. Andy Oddman, thank you for the 5. Trump has been doing a lot of crazy interviews for the campaign. If you could, would I interview him? What would I ask him about his plans? I don't think I have enough experience to be able to interview a politician that constantly dodges questions. right? Like, I feel like I just would not be good at that. I mean, maybe I am devaluing my own abilities, because, like, I feel like I did very good with that interview of that NFT woman who wanted to come in and basically scam VTubers. I feel like I did good with that one. But I don't know. When it comes to, like, a big sitting politician, especially if I do something like Trump, where it would be hundreds of thousands of people would probably watch that. Not for me, but for Trump. I don't know. I feel like that's a lot of pressure. And I don't know if I could do that. Talk about Bridge. Ask him about Bridge. I mean, I would like to. I don't know if I'd be able to. How about practice a bit more? I mean, maybe. You're too honest. Yeah, probably. The Force Films, thank you for the $1.99. The cat thing was an Ohio native in Canton. I want you to take a look at that woman and tell me that's an Ohio native. Spider Bro, thank you for the $4.99. Did she ask the people she prosecuted if they were okay before or after she kept them beyond their sentences to fight wildfires? That's a good question. How come nobody brings up her, like, incarceration record? I know it happened when she was running in 2020. Like, I vaguely remember, like, when you guys brought up Tulsi Gabbard, that Tulsi brought that up. But, like, it doesn't seem like anybody else brings it up. She is? Oh, God. Oh, God. Just don't let them answer, or just don't let them dodge the question vigorously. It was an Ohio native until the radiation came. I'd be impressed if the one eating cats was an actual Ohio native and not one of the migrants who's been going to the ponds and stealing the ducks and the geese. I don't know about the dog, though. He mentioned a dog a couple of times. I don't know where the dog eating came from. So, like, maybe we'll have some articles by Friday for me to disseminate, for me to go down and look at. Citizen was probably on drugs. Oh my God. Nim can answer for us. I don't know if he lives anywhere near that. The ducks are free, but you probably shouldn't kill them in public. You know, at least make it look like you're taking him home as a pet. Not the Wanchans? I don't know what that is. The Onion tried to make a joke and made fun of the death during the assassination attempt? What the heck? Delarfin, thank you for the 5. You can't wait for the View's take on tonight's debate. It's going to be crazy. I don't know if it can be crazier than the propaganda we watched at the end there. I don't know about that. The Dog in him, thank you for the 2. Women will sell out the country for Roe v. Wade. I still don't understand why people are going crazy over Roe v. Wade. I have been the actual definition of pro-choice. I am not pro-abortion, I am pro-choice. And I feel like when they put the restrictions on, like, 12 weeks, that's still, like, 3 months. That's still a good chunk of time. I don't feel like that restriction is crazy. The states that have decided on a 6-week restriction, I'm like, maybe that's too short. But people like to argue the extremes, right? And the extremes are, there are women who will not notice that they are pregnant until after that 6-week time frame. Those women are not common. Those women are not the average. They are a very small percentage. Young unmarried women will sell out the entirety of the planet Earth for freedom to kill their own babies. Like, I feel like it's very important to be able to have safe legal abortion in the extreme cases of, like, incest or rape, or, you know, something bad happens, the mother's life is in danger. I think it's important to have that. But I don't think that we need, like, crazy unrestricted abortion. And it's been weird seeing the pro-choice people drift more towards pro-abortion than staying in pro-choice. Sadly, average women immediately if they are prevented from doing anything at all. It's just like, even when I was younger, I always thought it was grotesque to hear that some women unironically use abortion as a form of birth control. Maybe that's also a small percentage of women. Hopefully it is. But it's still just like, why would you even consider that? Instead of taking preventative measures in the first place, why would you not take the pill or use an IUD? Yeah, IUD. I get IUD and IED mixed up sometimes. I can't help it, you know, don't put explosives in your vagina. Incest is understandable, but what about stepsisters stuck in washing machines? Or not have sex? You're not going to convince people to not have sex. That is just a losing gambit. You're like, some people might, for personal reasons, want to practice abstinence, but you're not going to make that overall an actual thing. It's like trying to ban alcohol. Like, you're not going to succeed. That's gotta be one explosive orgasm. To be fair, an IED would be a very effective IUD. I mean, you know. I feel like everyone is saying that, when the heck the issue is the mental health issues, I'll tell you. What? Those things don't have 100% success. They don't have 100% success rate, right? You're going to take preventative measures, but if you are having sex, part of you is consenting to the things that happen when you have sex. Sex feels great, right? It feels good. People love doing it. But the reason for sex is to procreate. So if you're willing to have sex, I guess heterosexual sex, you're willing to take on the risk of possibly getting pregnant. And if it was completely consensual, if there was no rape, if it was not incest, if your life is not in danger, why would you get an abortion? Prohibition was based. What's wrong with you? Which is why abortion should be illegal? Thank you. I don't think it should be illegal. Right, I don't think it should be fully illegal. I think that would be bad because abortions will still happen. They will just happen in unsafe circumstances and it will put more people in danger. Sex feels amazing. That's why you made kids with your wife. Sex, plenty. Kids? I have 3. I'm good. Yeah. So you've already had your kids. You're just like, fuck it. I don't need to make any more baby gravy. I'm done. I got the ones I wanted. And not on the taxpayer's dime? Yeah, I can agree with that as well. Taxpayers shouldn't be paying for something like abortion, just like they shouldn't be paying for transition surgeries. We shouldn't outlaw murder. Murder will still happen. I feel like this is a very obtuse way to go about talking about abortion, especially when I'm talking about specific cases of when women are raped or victims of incest, right? I've said it before and I'll say it again. As a woman, if it was tried to make wholly blanket illegal and then I was raped and was pregnant as a result of that rape, I would probably, because my life would be over at that point, right? My life would be over. That child would not have a good life. I would not like that child. I would hate that child. And that child does not deserve to grow up in a home not knowing what love would be. I would go to a government building and I would disembowel myself on the staircase, killing myself and the baby. And I don't care if that kind of sounds extreme. Abortion should not be completely illegal. You think you would hate that child? Oh no, I would. I am a woman and I understand women. And when I tell you I would hate that child, I am being 100% honest. Or give the child up for adoption. I am not breaking my body that was violated by a rapist to give birth to something to then give it up for adoption. No, that's not happening. I'm not putting myself through that, and I shouldn't be forced to do that. They want to get pregnant, not give birth. Weird. Weird. Brutal and honest. Very brutal and honest. Kirsche glowing. I don't think I'm glowing. I just think people get very, very in one setting, right? And like people like to bring up, well, those are only 0.1% of abortions. And it's like, yeah, that's what we're talking about. Those are the extremes that we're talking about. I'm not talking... I've denounced that people use it as a birth control. I don't think you should get one if you just have it as a result of consensual sex you wanted to have. I think that's absurd. Unless you were held against your will for 12 plus weeks, you'd easily be within the limits to abort the fetus. It'd be extreme cases where anyone who was forced into conception wouldn't be able to go before the cutoff. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Which is... This whole conversation started... because I was saying I don't understand why people are so angry about the restrictions that have been placed by states. I think the restrictions are completely fine that they have put down, in my opinion. The never-ending debate of abortion. Yeah, it's never going to end because there are people who think that it should be completely illegal with no exceptions, and then there are people who think that it should be completely illegal up to and even after birth. And I think both of those people are extreme and kind of insane because they don't allow for any nuance in their worldview for that issue. There's tons of people alive right now that should never have had kids at all. I agree. My mother was a very prime example of someone who probably shouldn't have had kids. A problem so lovely it needs to make both sides money forever. The bottom line for you, did Trump blow it tonight? I don't think so. I don't think he blew it. He tangented a bit more for my likes, right? He tangented a bit more than I would have wanted. I wish he would have directly answered a couple of the questions, especially when they tried to, like, gotcha him on a few times. he could have come down as a bit more sturdy on some of the issues. But overall, I feel like as someone who knows most of what was going on from what they talked about, there were a few things I either didn't remember or didn't know. I feel like he did well. I feel like most normies are going to probably believe that Kamala's flowery language is very nice and very truthful. Very demure, as it were. I hate that that word is now super popular, because I liked using that word. You're glad my mother had me, even if the relationship wasn't beneficial to either of you. No, I'm not saying I shouldn't have been born. I'm not saying that at all. But it's just like my mother would squarely fall into the category of people that shouldn't have children. She never did explain what an opportunity economy was. I feel like I've heard the words opportunity economy before. Not from Kamala, but probably somewhere in, like, the incessant shit pile that is all the Bridge Smart Brief articles I've been reading. Abortion went from safe, legal, rare to screecher abortion from the pussy poppin' pink Capitol building. Yeah, and that's the problem. That's the problem. She sounded like Fran from The Nanny. You couldn't take her seriously. When you listen to the way she speaks as well, like the incredibly emotional tenor, you gotta remember that in America, and I don't know if this is the same with like other countries' TV shows, but in America, we have like triggers in our TV shows that sort of tell you what emotion you're supposed to be feeling during the scene that you're watching. And some of it has always come off kind of weird to me, right? Like when you think of the canned laughter that is played in some sitcoms, when you think of like that sad music that starts playing when the scene was already like emotional, but they had to play it just so you know exactly how sad it is, right? So the way that she was speaking kind of reminded me of that. It was like the emotional trigger where the Americans that hear this will go, oh God, she's right, he is evil. You don't want her to win, but you want to know how she would handle a meeting with Putin. That dragon fruit, thank you for 5. Kamala sounded like she was about to cry during a whole lot of her responses. She sounded weak. I would say yes, but again, that's the emotional play that she's pulling that Americans have become used to in our media. So I think a lot of people aren't going to see her as sounding weak. They're going to see her as sounding emotional and in tune with what Americans want, unfortunately. The Last Mandalore, thank you for the $4.99. I think the biggest takeaway is the media bias. I mean, it's always been. Always has been. Grahav, thank you for the 10R. In a grape case, you would feel bad whichever option you had about what the woman should do. Or whatever opinion you had. Yeah, it's like, it's not a good situation to have to think about. Ryan, thank you for the 2. You hate her so much, ruined my applesauce making. She should have increased your applesauce production, though, let's be real. Mesa Sone, thank you for the $9.99. The cope is real, thanks for the stream. Yeah, true. True and real. Sparky, thank you for the $1.79. Final verdict, slanted debate, tons of projection, lies tossed casually, glazing the left candidate, lots of dirty laundry and very few proposals. Yep, my brand of political debate monkey business, pretty much. A Finfrog 3, thank you for the 5. Alf the alien loves cats too, must be a cultural thing. Interesting. I'm gonna have to look up the lady to see if she's actually Ohioan, like a couple of you guys were saying. Evil Mandrake, thank you for the 5. We watched the same debate. This part is called propaganda. Yeah, they tell you what to think. I win 12, thank you for the 10-month resub. You're just a passerby, but Jesus, mate, there's softball questions, and then there's just going against 3v1. The amount of times the moderators interjected and, like, would try and fact-check Trump and then not fact-check Kamala, it's just like, man, come on. You can't make your bias any more obvious, dude. I literally can't make it any more obvious. Ryan, thank you for the 2. You were very focused on your knife work. Zen Gunman, thank you for the 5. You'd like to remind ABC that orally pleasuring a presidential candidate on live television is an actual crime. I did not have sexual relations with that presidential candidate. Senator Satan, thank you for the 2. They call me Haitian the way I be eating pussy. That's a good pickup line in current year. Captain Seatard, thank you for the member. Your favorite part was when they both competed over how many billions of dollars they were going to send to our greatest ally. It's just like, oh my god. I I don't, that's so weird to have in the American debate. Arismador, thank you for the 13. Pretty sure she's used to initiating with her hand. Ooh, I thought it was her mouth, man. Avalanche Grim, thank you for the 1. Political turmoil, cultural change, disease, socioeconomic instability are often cited for Rome's downfall. Sounds quite familiar, just saying. Tomahawk PWPT, thank you for the 2. He did mention nuclear weapons. Evil Zombie Toe, thank you for the 500 biddies. She never performs this well without a script. 99% chance she just got the questions ahead of time. I wouldn't be surprised if they played some little hanky-panky favorites here. She was also taking notes while the debate was going on. So it's like, maybe she was trying to remember the talking points. I don't know, man. Jim Farm, thank you for the 4.99. Harris would handle meetings the only way she knows how. On her knees. People are speculating her earrings were audio-enabled. How would that even work? Her earrings were like dangly hoops. That wouldn't make sense. That wouldn't make sense because then we'd be able to hear them. They'd at least make some sort of feedback with the microphone, wouldn't they? Because, like, they're not in her ear, they're outside. What's my honest opinion on the 19th Amendment? Oh, man. What a loaded question. Justin, thank you for the 2. Many such cases. Christian Gonzalez, thank you for the 4.99. If she doesn't know which she doesn't, the military hates her for what she has done and said. I have no idea what the military's opinion on Kamala Harris is. Crystal radios are a thing. Crystal radio? She was 100% scripted. You can tell by the way she was talking whenever she got questioned that she was reciting something she'd rehearsed. It was obvious to you, at least? I mean, maybe. She repeated the same thing in the same way like 3 times, so... PPMV, thank you for the 5. It's like a relative of yours says, there's no Kamala supporters, only Trump haters. Very true. Inches, thank you for the 20. Thanks for the fun, Fox Lady. Never a dull moment. Yeah, it's been real fucking fun tonight, dude. Objectively, Cat 3 of 9 lives, thank you for the 14-month resub. The story of weapons of mass destruction is more complicated. Chemical and biological weapons are included under the umbrella term. We know Hussein had chemical weapons because he used them on his own people. U.S. citizens heard weapons of mass destruction and reacted emotionally to the term rather than inquiring further. I just remember, and I could be remembering wrong because this was well before I even got into politics. I just remember it being stated that when we were over there in war, we were unable to find any weapons of mass destruction. We basically came up empty-handed, and we had to admit, well, we lost a gajillion lives and spent a gajillion dollars over in the desert for years for basically nothing. There was no proof of chemical weapons at the time of invasion. The WMD facility was found, but Israel had destroyed it years before. The whole thing felt like they didn't try to push Trump down, but lift the unlikable hag up. Did eventually find them, it just took a lot longer than the public's attention span. No WMDs, but man, there was a lot of oil. You like how Kirsche pronounces Israel? It's fun to pronounce it that way. John, aka Proto, thank you for the 3-month resub. Worst Taco Tuesday! The debate low-key makes you depressed to be an American. Kirsche for president instead, look. After a debate like this, that's where you employ Tuesday night's anal night. Cavage, thank you for the $10 super. Kamala was Attorney General of California. California keeps extending. I read that randomly before. Thank you again, Cavage. REQ, thank you for 3 months of Prune. ABC live fact-checking Trump and not Kamala isn't helping her. They just let the IVF and very fine people crap fly. They did, unfortunately. They did. Justin, thank you for the 2. You're pronouncing Israel right. No one in particular, thank you for the €5. Surprised that they didn't compete on who's better for minorities. Also, the US gave chemical weapons to Iraq for their war with Iran. I also remember Obama giving firearms, I think it was, to one of the sand countries. I don't remember which one. I can't remember which one, man. I just remember it being a big deal. Happy Tuesday, chat. Happy Tuesday, Rice, man. Just like in the Christmas song. They did kind of compete on who's better for minorities. Like, they briefly brought it up, but then they wanted to focus on Trump calling out Kamala for playing identity politics. She was Indian until being black was more beneficial for her. But he handled that really fucking poorly, in my opinion. Because, like, when they were like, so, how come you commented on Kamala's perceived blackness? And instead of being like, we all know what she's doing, We know she's pandering. We know she's playing identity politics. I don't even remember what he said, but he did not give a good answer. Obama just gave pallets of money to Iran. Was it money? I thought he also gave firearms, but I could be misremembering. Could have just been money that turned into firearms somehow. He fumbled the ball. Yeah. Kitsune, they give the 10. Just heard Steve Earl Jones died. That sucks. As military yourself, the fact that our healthcare and food supply are being slashed to support Iran also sucks. I wish our food wasn't literal poison in the United States. That'd be nice. Can we get corn syrup and seed oils out of, like, everything, please? I don't remember who Steve Earl Jones is, though. I'm sorry. Israel. Since L is basically God. Oh, am I accidentally doing something funny? He should have gone with how conveniently she had a southern accent also in southern states. Or when, was it in Chicago that she just started talking like she was an inner city person? James Earl Jones? James Earl Jones. I don't know who James Earl Jones is. Oh, he was Darth Vader? Oh, that's why I don't know who he is. Dark Lelouch G, thank you for the 5. Kirsche, on your stance regarding abortion is damnation of blood by a different name. You can get to abort in the case of risk of life via self-death, though? I do not understand your message. Captain Cetar, thank you for the 5. You're thinking of Operation Fast and Furious that was guns to Mexican cartels. I know that was a thing too, but I could have sworn during Obama's second term, there was like a talking point where people were like, Obama gave firearms in the Middle East. He armed, I can't remember if it was like the Taliban or some other fucking terrorist cell over there. I vaguely remember that. I could be misremembering wrong. Right, I could be misremembering, certainly. Obama dropped pallets of cash. Yeah, maybe I'm just getting it confused. Maybe it was cash. You said ISIS 15 minutes to receive the anniversary. The what? Kirsche doesn't movies. I don't. I don't. He armed ISIS? Okay, the CIA founded ISIS. Some old stocks of mustard gas were located in holding tanks that leaked profusely. Report of a U.S. Army sergeant accidentally discovering them because he stepped in a puddle of water filled with liquid mustard gas. He got licky. He was wearing protective gear. What? Harbinger. Oh, thank you for the 5-month member. James Earl Jones was also the voice of Mufasa. Oh, shit. Okay, I know who Mufasa is. I know that one. Alex Nunn, thank you for the 199. He played Mufasa. Kitsune, thank you for the 2. The correction, James Earl Jones. James Earl Jones. When they were calling ISIS anti-Assad rebels. Okay, I don't remember that part of history. Obama also gave billions to Pakistan that was funneled to the Taliban. Man. Kirsche, you're thinking of the Iran-Contra incident, which happened during Obama. Okay. My brain struggles to remember some of these things, chat. I try my best, but it's fucking hard, dude. You loved him as the blind guy in The Sandlot? What? We always end up arming our enemies at some point. It's kind of an American thing. I hate that tradition. Iran-Contra was Ronald Reagan. Is somebody confused as well? Somebody's super confused about, like, what year it is? Chat, it's not best to do movie references. It really isn't. I will not understand any of your movie references. No, that was chat gaslighting. Benghazi and Iran pallets of cash and other stuff happened during Obama. Oh. Oh. Whoever was gaslighting, ban that bitch. We don't appreciate gaslighters around here. How come nobody sends funds to Pakistan? Dan Wu, thank you for the 5. You shook Obama's hand when he visited NAS Pensacola during BP oil spill in 2010. His hand was like a dead fish. What is a dead fish hand? Tyran Draken, thank you for the 2. When will the Emperor of Mankind save us? I don't know if that's possible, man. Sean J73, thank you for the 14-month resub. You live in California. You can tell me these environmental policies have made everything worse. Yeah, California's a real shit state at this point, unfortunately. Dead fish hand is a weak handshake. Oh, okay. No one in particular, thank you for the €2. ISIS never attacks Israel. Makes one think. Do they not? Do they not? Justin, thank you for the 10. Until China and India get sanctioned to fuck for their pollution, this is another non-issue that doesn't matter. That's pretty much my opinion. You cannot and will not get me to care about anything climate change related until China and India and some of the Southeast Asian countries get sanctioned for their massive amounts of pollution. Like the Philippines. Philippines produce so much fucking pollution and I didn't even know about that. We read an article on stream that mentioned how much pollution comes out of the Philippines. That's crazy. Malaysia as well. That's actually crazy how much they produce for being such small countries. Kirsche doesn't know movies. Are they still doing movie quotes that I don't understand? M Bone, thank you for the 5. Damn it, chat. I just want strong families, no taxes, and lots of pretty babies with the wife. Hi, Kirsche. Same, dude. Same, relatable. Durian Lucian, thank you for a 50. Man, you've been going crazy today. This is the only way you'd ever watch this crap is with Kirsche. Thank you. That's fun. That's fun. Joe of the Mask, thank you for the 10. Nuclear power! I agree. Dan Wu, thank you for the 5. Insurance is a scam, forcing people to buy a service. As a previous insurance worker! Yes, I agree. I hate paying for insurance. I hope I can find a house in New Hampshire so I don't have to buy insurance. I'd be great. Live free or die, man. Let's go. A Seawitch, thank you for the 2. They should ask about the Bear Ears Monument. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Plasma Cutter, PhD, thank you for the 5. Grow the ACA equals grow the government. Yeah, how come none of the politicians ever have to deal with the Obamacare stuff? Really makes you noggin jogging. I'm a man too, you know, I go pee standing up. Yes, that's a movie quote. What the heck? What the heck? New Hampshire's based? New Hampshire's hella based. They're getting a little polluted by the non-based Massachusettsians, but hopefully they can hold the line. Have a good night, Saiyan Jedi man. A new jar of AFK try before bed, and then when you wake up, you'll be 1 year older. Oh, happy early birthday, since I won't see you until Friday. Happy early birthday! A Dark Lelouch G, thank you for the 5. She calls him racist and discriminatory, yet withholds exculpatory evidence in a death penalty case. If both are true, which is worse? The latter, I say. Very much, yeah. She's actually done things that have been harmful, as far as being indiscriminatory. Massachusettsians. Happy birth, miss. Bruce Silvaro, thank you for the 10. We didn't assault her, we just held her down while the other guy assaulted her. Central Park 5. Yeah. I remember reading about this on stream, but I genuinely don't remember enough about it to, like, say anything, unfortunately. I don't want to, like, say the wrong thing. I'd feel bad about it. Brock Sampson. Oh, that's a good name. Thank you for the 20, Mr. Himbo Man. Subbed, based as VTuber, dementia, that's what I have. Dismantle all alphabet agencies, protect my dogs from the ATF, true. Gotta protect them from the ATF and apparently Haitians now as well. Living Weapon Iron Fist, thank you for the 2. Lies from the Queen of the Flies. Udo Gas Mask, thank you for the 5. F this liar, you hate how they handled Afghanistan. Literally 46 admin effed everything up. Tony the Mighty, thank you for the 100 biddies. Possibly Insane, thank you for the gift sub, my dude, thank you. EA84, thank you for the 6-month resub. How's the debate going? Oh man, it was going, man. Light Frank, thank you for the prune, thank you for pruning. Was this the only debate or is there another one coming up? I don't know if they'll have another one. I don't know if they'll have another one. A Toxic Blossom, thank you for the member. And Lagia, thank you for the 1,000 biddies. Harris's values didn't change because she never had any to begin with. You can't really expect someone that was willing to use their body in order to get promotions to have any actual values. He voiced Kronk. He did voice Kronk. Patrick Warburton is the best himbo voice actor, as it were. Sven, thank you for the 2. Obama's Fast and Furious scandal killed a border agent. Also true. I'm gonna call it here. Take care. Have a good night, Aeon, my dude. Have a good night. Played a real himbo on Seinfeld, too. Wait, did he? I didn't watch that much Seinfeld. Mr. Bearson, thank you for the 100 biddies. Her work, which involved extending sentences for non-violent drug offenders so that she could maintain the prison labor force. True. That Mexican guy, 88. Thank you for the 100 biddies. How come they're only fact-checking Trump? Because their bias is obvious, unfortunately. Orismador, thank you for the 8-month resub. I'm spiking! Oh, wait, muted. Joe K, thank you for the 10. Thanks, Fox Lady. Stay based. Thank you, Joe. Draco, thank you for the 2 months of Prune. You gotta study, but you'll be watching the VoD tomorrow. Oh, good luck. It's a doozy. Artificial Sky, thank you for the 12-month resub. You love Guilty Gear? It was a fun game to play. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed playing it. John Kanji, thank you for the 10. Did I have a favorite BlazBlue character? I remember reading this. I liked the goth umbrella lady. I don't remember her name. I'm bad at names. James Spinner, thank you for the 10. Spoon! My spoon is too big. Azores, 94, thank you for the 200 biddies. Kirsche is getting political. I remember reading this one as well. Thank you again. Smug Goat, thank you for the 7-month resub. You'd say take a shot for weird-ass takes, but we don't want alcohol poisoning. True, that's against TOS. Don't do that. Rachel Alucard. Yeah, that might be her name. Oh, hello. I'm a banana. Hello, Cheems Ball. Random Mexican, thank you for the $4.99. Hi, you're new here. You notice Kamala Harris's body language gave you something that says she's lying. Lion Kamala. If the far progressives didn't lie, they probably wouldn't have any platform to be on at all at this point. BlazBlue's kind of cringy, chuny story-wise, but fun. Sometimes cringy, chuny storyline can be good, though. Risk Videos, thank you for the 2. I am a banana! True. Nice shirt. The snake is me tonight. Oh my god. SRF versus the world, thank you for the 100 biddies. Will Kamala's eyes blacken and shake the room with her aura? Or is the dark Kamala propaganda not gonna work in her favor? What the heck? Paul Livadier, thank you for the 100 biddies. Can't believe not just ducks and geese, but horses and even a bald eagle has been taken out by Haitians. I haven't seen the horse, and I don't have a source on the bald eagle. So I'm gonna fingers crossed hope those ones aren't true. All right, okay? I'm gonna hope those ones are just some fake news. We'll see if I have articles by Friday, though. So many. Spass Monkey, thank you for the 9-month tier 2 resub. Born just in time for the debate. Slid out on the debate floor right in front of him. Good job, guy. Eat the placenta. Assert your dominance. Albion Matcha, thank you for the 100 biddies. Kamala means awful in your mother tongue of Finnish. I remember reading that too. Thank you again. No. Mikado02, thank you for the 3-month tier 3 resub. Hello there, Foxu of the Cursed Knowledge. In the Victorian house renovated by YouTubers. I hope you have a lot of fun. You'll try catching up on 2 times BRB and laugh a lot. I hope I'm never in a Victorian house renovated by YouTubers. I'd probably want to die. Hermit Hal, thank you for the 10. Everyone hearing this is now aware that they are blinking and breathing manually. You are also all very thirsty. I've been drinking a lot of water. I've been very thirsty, especially since I threw up at the beginning of stream. Justin, thank you for the 5. First candidate that runs on the platform of completely tearing up FAFSA so that college tuition comes all the way the hell down gets your vote. I don't know if they would do that. That'd be an interesting thing to float, though. Emperor Creatine, thank you for the 5. A vote for Trump is a vote to save Cheems Ball and Gravy from pet-eating migrants. Then again, like names like Cheems Ball and Gravy aren't doing them any favors. Look. Pets named after food items are hilarious and cute. And that one in particular, thank you for the €2. Biggest navy ever to protect a non-NATO country. Bingo bango tango mango, thank you for the 2. Fact check, you are not a banana. You are a coconut. And that's why I don't eat coconut, because it'd be cannibalisms. I just rub their flesh and oil on my flesh. Did I see that Twitch put a may contain sexual content label on my Twitch stream? Put a screenshot of it in stream suggestions? I think it's because of the way I have my channel flagged. Because we do talk about, like, adult topics, as it were. I don't do, like, ASMR streams. I don't do, like, Twitch thought content. But I do bring up sounding, and that is sexual. So I feel like, you know, that flag makes sense. Jim Farm, thank you for the $4.99. Have a wonderful night, Kirsche. Might have missed some earlier chats from YouTube during the debate. I know it was a bit messy. Yeah, I'm trying to get through a lot of the thank yous here, because I know there's gonna be a ton that I missed while the alerts were off. Thank you, Jim. I hope you have a good heckin' night, dude. Every 18+ flag channel gets it. I thought there were different ones though, right? Like there's the sexual content, there's violence, there's like inappropriate language. Maybe it's all just sexual content now, but I thought there were different flags. A sounding ASMR stream with Nim Wen? What the fuck is wrong with you? Haitian illegal immigrants killed a bald eagle in Ohio. Fact check. They were Hondurans in Nebraska. Could not confirm immigration status. Debunked. Interesting. Hopefully I'll have an article for you guys on Friday. Pippa's finally fallen into the magic pit. I don't know what that means. Barlith1, thank you for the 2-month resub, my guy. Thank you. Critical, thank you for the 9-month resub. Congrats on your birth, dude. Elias Surge, thank you for the prune. Thank you for brooming. Mr. Dumpy Quampet, thank you for the 4 months of prune. Can't wait for the 2 most annoying people in America to yell at each other for an hour. That was kind of rough. Rogues, do it from behind. Thank you for the 13 months of prune. Thank you. Jen Solku, 311, thank you for the 100 biddies. You'd watch too, but Harris makes you hurt from how much you cringe when watching her. She just feels like not a real human sometimes. It's very confounding, honestly. Del Arcadia, thank you for the 2. Kamala, it's DEI in time. True. Evil, thank you for the 5. She is nothing but pure emotion and lies. Incredible. Wolf and Wings, thank you for the 5. After Afghanistan, she's the last person I want to hear from. Adele Arcadia, thank you for the member. Justin, thank you for the member. Zen Gunman, thank you for the 5. Trump is the guy who sold the Ukrainians the javelins, froths at the mouth, and chews on rebar. I can't tell if this is sarcasm or not, and I can't fact check you because I don't think the Ukrainian thing was happening when he was president. I don't think that was happening. Oh, it's midnight. Hold on, my alarm's going off. Mine says significant profanity or vulgar language and sexual themes for your channel, but you think that checks out? Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Pippa's having a woman moment with Magic the Gathering. Well, of course she is, because what woman wants to play Magic the Gathering? If I have a guy and he wants to play Magic, I'd be like, all right, have fun doing your nerd thing. I'll make you some snacks. But like, I don't want to learn that shit. I don't want to fucking learn that shit. It's 9/11. True. Happy 9/11, chat. Happy 9/11. Ukraine happened during Biden's first year. Okay, so I'm not too fucking brain damaged. 2014 to 15 was wild in Ukraine. I don't remember anything about 2014 to 15 in Ukraine. Felt really disingenuous attacking her on the economy when he left office. Like, COVID wasn't devastating no matter what party was in office. I think the one thing that nobody really mentions about COVID is that well, Trump was the one who tried setting up the research for the vaccine. Originally, Democrats were the ones who were like, this vaccine's going to be terrible. The Trump vaccine isn't going to work. It's not going to do anything. And then as soon as Trump was out of office and the Democrats were in office, they were just like, everyone must take the vaccine. This is Biden's vaccine and everyone must take it or you will become unpersoned. And I was like, huh, that's interesting how they switched up like that. And then, of course, none of them had to really obey any of the rules they were laying down for us plebeians on the ground. They could still go to family gatherings. They could still have rallies. They could still go out and get their hair done. They could do all of these things, and the media even reported on them doing it, but nobody really seemed to care about the double standard. They just went along with it and said, yes, it is killing grandma if we go see her. Vaccine is GUT for UU. I don't know what that means. Let's get the Yab Dems. No, don't do it. They were all partying in Florida. Dude, all of the videos coming out of like spring break week, that was kind of nuts too. Turned out racism was the real pandemic. Stronin Sacharte? I can't pronounce that, I'm sorry. Thank you for the 2. It's Kiev. They're psyoping us into thinking it's Kiev. Yeah, I've never heard it pronounced Kiev. That was jarring. Like, I know I pronounce things wrong and funny all the time. So when someone pronounces something differently for me, I have to be like, chat, which one of us is wrong? Because honestly, it could go either way. Oh god, my chat keeps scrolling. Not like you guys chat, but like my thanking chat. Hep. Oh god, what did it do? Oh god, what did it do? Oh god, they all reset because it switched over to midnight. That's what happened. Oh man, when it's a new day, Stream Elements automatically marks all of the previous days unreads as read thank yous. Finish next time. I might have to, because I know Binary Mind keeps track of the ones I've already thanked and which ones I still need to get to. Oh my god. 11 p.m. in Wisconsin. I'm sorry. Sergeant Buck, thank you for the 10. Remember to leave milk and cookies out for George Bush tonight. I don't want George Bush coming in through my fucking chimney that I don't have. Robadobe Flop, thank you for the 6-month sub on Twitch, dude. Thank you. BB Desk, thank you for the 6-month member. Russia invaded Crimea during Obama, which was the term before Trump, and the Donbass region during Biden. I completely forgot about Crimea. I completely forgot that even happened. Jorshly, thank you for the 200 biddies. You managed to take 2 shots of the vaccine and had 2 kidneys die after. Took you 7 kidney doctors to determine a cause. Hold on, you only have 2 kidneys. So if you had 2 kidneys die, does that mean you have 0 kidneys now? How do you... I thought you needed at least 1 kidney to live. I thought you needed one. If Bush is coming down your chimney, light a fire. Oh yeah, ritual post. Don't worry, we got till 3 a.m. Don't worry about it. You probably got a transplant? Oh yeah, that makes sense. They have those. He's dead. She's writing to us from the grave. He's a Democrat voter. Crimea happened because it was mostly ethnic Russians and Ukrainian coup d'etat forces were persecuting them. Well, that seems kind of weird. They become adult-nies? Hold on. 9 kidney. No, he said 7 doctors. Fun fact about Kiev. Kiev pronounced Kiev is the Russian way. Kiev pronounced Kiev is the Ukrainian way. I had no idea they pronounced them differently. I'm going to be honest with you. Mind Flayer, thank you for the gift sub, my guy. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. No. Alright. Okay, chat. I'm on my 3rd kidney. Even Ukrainians use the Russian way. You've seen the Ukrainian spelling as K-Y-I-V. I've seen the spelling different, right? But I thought it was pronounced the same. Xenophyte, thank you for the 9-month member. Thanks for covering the debate. Sad to see so many people wanting to shift commie like here in Canada. Doesn't surprise me, right? Because a lot of people have been taught that replacing family and family values with the government is a good thing. Replacing someone in your family unit with the government is a good thing. Be more reliant on the government. Don't think for yourself. Just do what the government tells you. And a lot of people don't like thinking for themselves because it comes with consequences sometimes. It's just easier to be told what to do and what to think and then just go along with it. It's pronounced Korshev. Mr. Korshev, tear down that wall. Just a bigger family with more guns. Just no guns for you. Mind Flayer, thank you for the subby bubby. Thank you for subbing yourself, dude. Welcome. Multi-generational households are best. Yeah, I'm glad I was able to live at home as long as I did. I wish I could have stayed longer, but you know. You approve of this message. Let's see who is on tap tonight. I gotta actually pee really fucking bad. I'm bladder large right now. This is why every atheist country has invariably been an evil hellhole. Is that something that's common? I have no idea. I have no idea what the religions of the hellhole countries have become. Let's see here. Let's see, who am I gonna touch? It's really late night, and most of the people I would raid are not streaming. So I'm gonna just throw everyone over to Grathu. I think we raided Grathu recently, but like, there's just not many people online. There's just not many people on. Go fry that chicken. I am going to fry chicken so fucking hard. I'm gonna fry so hard. We're jostling the jimmies. What did you miss? How was the debate? Oh, the debate was fucking rough, dude. It was fucking rough. Oh, it was fucking rough. Peeba. Oh yeah, fuck you, Peeba, we could do a fucking YouTube raid today. Oh, chat, you're so smart. You're so smart. Hold on, my browser just killed itself. Yeah, I'm sorry, Twitch, you're gonna get cucked today. It's your turn. It's your turn to sit in the cuck chair. I will have to say, alright, okay, chat, we just watched a presidential debate. Peeba is not a political streamer. Please do not bring up political things in Peeba's chat. I have to rely on you to be smart and knowledgeable about going into a different area. She just ended. Fuck! Fuck! No cucking, she's done streaming. Okay, never mind, we're going back to Grathu. Fuck, man. It's fucked. Who, what? I'm going to sleep. Have a good night, Rabbit Mine. We're so back. It's so over. We're so back. I'm raiding Grathu. And I'm gonna pee, and then I'm gonna eat a salad. I'm gonna eat a delicious salad with pickles in it. Take that, YouTube. I'm sorry, YouTube. You sit in the cuck chair even longer. I love Peeba. I also love Peeba. She hates us. She felt it coming and aborted. This is around her usual end time though, so it's not, you know, I should have realized. Why am I eating chaotic frog monsters? What? No, Pickle not frog, she demon! Nasty ass pickles, what the fuck? Pickles are delicious! Kiss Cheems for us, 15-month subscriber. What? That I will give Cheems lots of pets and kisses. You copied the wrong message, it happens. Peeba felt it. No, I love the Peeba! I will rip her ears off and make delicious moldy food with them. Alright, we're rating Grathu on the Twitches. Thank you, chat. Thank you, chat, for hanging out with me super fucking late in the evening. This is not my normal streaming hours, not my normal streaming time, so thank you. Thank you. I will be back on fucking Friday. Maybe we'll have some articles about all of the weird animals getting eaten. Maybe we'll figure out what's true and what's not true. I'm sure we'll have some weird shit to cover on Friday. And I want to do more video games this weekend. I'm hankering, especially after finally getting Blood Dragon working again. The raid is gonna go through, so I'm gonna peace out, chat. I'm gonna peace out. Give Graphew some love. Go be weird to Graphew. Have a great rest of your night. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Oh lord. Jocelyn Jimmy's. Oh shit. Oh shit. Mom, I'm going cross-eyed now. Chat's moving too fast. I'm cross-eyed. I can't see. I'm cross-eyed.